afternoon, it's counting day, and what a day it's been. A massive victory for the BJP in Uttar Pradesh, the incumbent returning after more than 30 years in India's largest state. A result that is going to have a decisive impact in many ways on the 2024 Lok Sabha election and the way national politics will play out here in onwards. Also, a massive sweep for the Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab. The new entrant has won decisively in a landslide verdict there. Bhagwant Mann is all set to be the next Chief Minister of Punjab. He's spoken just a short while ago, talking about how all the big names of Punjab have lost this election. And by the way, it's quite a list of people from Captain Amrinder Singh to Navjot Singh Sidhu, who's been trailing. Chief Minister Channi has apparently lost both his seats by now. We're just waiting for the latest update on that. But he was trailing there. Even Sukhbir Badal and Prakash Singh Badal, who have been trailing now for quite some time. So that is the story of Punjab. In Uttarakhand, in Goa and Manipur as well, we are seeing the BJP far ahead of the Congress. The Congress had hoped that it had good chances in Goa and in Uttarakhand at least, but there too the BJP is clearly in the position now to form governments there. My colleague Sanket Upadhyay has been tracking the UP elections very closely now for more than a month. Alok Pandey, my colleague in Lucknow, both of them joining us this afternoon. So Sanket, to you first, this is really a historic win, given that UP has seen, at least for the last 25 years, a change in government every time. But Yogi Adityanath has done what many thought he couldn't do, and he's come back quite decisively.
Well, Nidhi, unfortunately, the talkback is with me, since Sanket is a towering personality in all respects. I'll ask him the question that Nidhi asked. She says that, is it not something very remarkable that, a government is making a re-entry right after one government, as in Yogi Adityanath is coming back for a second term, something that doesn't seem to have happened in the last 20 years.
This has never, in recent public memory of Uttar Pradesh, this has not happened. So a repeat of the incumbent is a message from Uttar Pradesh. Now there are various factors that have contributed to this happening. We can analyze and micro-analyze, but I guess today is a day of pictures. And I think it will be better if we show you the pictures right here, rather than deep dive into analysis straight away. Because the mood here is of celebration. This entire area, which is the BJP headquarters, has been painted saffron. Wherever your eye can go, you will see saffron everywhere. The color of the party.
I'll just take over for Sanket and just try and wade into this crowd here and show you what's happening. Ma'am, आपका नाम क्या? What's your name? क्या नाम है आपका? आपको क्या लगता है कौन सी ऐसी बड़ी चीज है? आपका नाम क्या है?
मैं राज्य मंत्री उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार सोनम किन्नर।
जी सोनम जी, ये बताइए कि आपके हिसाब से ऐसी कौन सी बड़ी चीज रही है जिसने बीजेपी के कैंपेन में मदद की है, या बीजेपी की?
हम लोग स्टार प्रचारक थी, पूरे प्रदेश में गई थी, पूरी जनता ने माननीय योगी जी को पसंद किए। उनके यंग पे स्मार्ट है, हैंडसम है हमारे मुख्यमंत्री, और 25 करोड़ जनता योगी जी का परिवार है। उस 25 करोड़ परिवार को मेरी सरकार की तरफ से चरण स्पर्श करते उनको बहुत बहुत बधाई हो।
से पहले समाजवादी पार्टी में भी थी, फिर आप बीजेपी में आई, क्या कारण रहा?
मैं तो उनको शराब दी थी, मैं तो कही थी कभी बनेंगे नहीं भविष्य में, और मेरी शराब लग गई।
राजनीति लेकिन बहुत होती है, हो सकता है बाद में कभी बन जाए। शराब तो आपने दे दिया, नहीं हो सकता बाद में कभी बन जाए, कि नहीं लगता आपको?
अब नहीं कभी बनेंगे, अब तो कभी नहीं, अब तो कभी नहीं, अब योगी जी ही रहेंगे। और
आपका नाम क्या है?
असरार अहमद है।
इसरार जी, आपको क्या लगता है क्या अच्छा था योगी आदित्यनाथ के कैंपेन में?
साइकिल गई कबाड़े में, हाथी गया है नाले में, अब तो कमल खड़ा है अखाड़े में, अब तो बुलडोजर चलेगा।
कहाँ चलेगा?
जो लोग कह रहे थे कि अगर बीजेपी वापसी कर देगी, मुनव्वर राणा जैसे लोग कहते थे कि जब बीजेपी अगर वापसी करेगी देश छोड़कर चला जाऊंगा, मैं आपके मीडिया के माध्यम से कहना चाहता हूं, उनके टिकट का इंतजाम, उनके घर जाने का इंतजाम हम करेंगे। ये असरार अहमद करेगा, और उनको वापस उसी जहां वो जाना चाहते वहीं भेज कर रहूंगा।
Indulge me for 30 more seconds. The freestyle dance is something that you only spot on the day an election victory is made. ये कौन सा डांस स्टाइल है जी? कौन सा डांस का स्टाइल है? फ्रीस्टाइल।
जी आ गए, बूटेदार आ गया,
आप तो लेट गए जी।
बाबा की खुशी में
निधि, इनको तो इतनी खुशी हो रही है कि ये लेट गए। अब हम तो नहीं लेट सकते, बट राइट हियर एंड विल कंटिन्यू टू गिव यू दीस शॉट्स यू वांट। BJP headquarters in Lucknow.
Alok, that's quite colorful and something you can really only see in Indian elections, I have to say.
The stage is being prepared right behind us, perhaps for a senior functionary of the BJP to come here. Perhaps the Chief Minister. We are expecting that perhaps the Chief Minister is going to come here and address the gathering.
Yes, that is what we are expecting. I think he and maybe some other leaders, at least Swatantra Dev Singh, the BJP state chief, and some other people may come here later in the evening to address this really energetic crowd that has gathered over here.
The return of the incumbent in Uttar Pradesh after many decades is particularly for the BJP.
Yes, certainly, and that is why you see the celebration. That gentleman carrying on with his freestyle dance, and everyone else really happy that he has won this.
Did they put saffron colors on you? I think they did.
चल जाएगा, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है भाई, चुनाव की खुशी है इन लोग की, तो अब
Absolutely. $1 million mark.
माना भैया का है, आप राजनीति में थे, हर जगह थे, आपका मान सम्मान बीजेपी कार्यकर्ता कर रहा है।
अच्छा,
आप बहुत अच्छे हैं, हम लोग
आप बहुत अच्छे हैं संकेत जी।
बहुत चलते हैं।
Well, incredible pictures there from the BJP headquarters. Sorry for some of the glitches. But as Sanket and Alok were reporting there, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath is possibly expected to come and talk to party workers shortly. But we're also getting pictures of Arvind Kejriwal. I just saw a few seconds ago. He's gone to a temple, it appears, to I think, give a thanksgiving for the Aam Aadmi Party's incredible performance. It has swept Punjab and decisively changed the way opposition politics is going to be played out now ahead of the next general election. The Aam Aadmi Party are not only winning Punjab decisively today and expanding its footprint beyond Delhi, but they've also won a couple of seats in Goa and seem to have made a gain in Uttarakhand as well. So this is, you know, the AAP expanding beyond the borders of Delhi, taking on a big state like Punjab, winning that state with a very decisive mandate and clearly now setting their sights on a much bigger national role, particularly for Mr. Kejriwal. Remember, there are a lot of opposition candidates, opposition leaders who see themselves as potential leaders of an opposition alliance in 2024. Mamata Banerjee is certainly among those. The Chief Minister of Telangana, KCR, among those as well. But the Aam Aadmi Party now very much in the reckoning. A lot of questions now over the next few months about how that opposition alliance could possibly shape up. But if the Aam Aadmi Party now emerges as a serious challenger to the BJP in Gujarat, which is due for elections at the end of this year, that could be another potential game changer as well. The AAP has already had some victories in local elections, in a couple of local elections in Gujarat. So they're slowly occupying the space that the Congress has left behind in Gujarat as well. That's going to be the next key battle. Sonakshi, my colleague, joining us from Sangrur, and she was there when the future Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann was speaking a little while earlier. I know it's really loud there, Sonakshi. Bhagwant Mann clearly thrilled and making the point that all the big guns in Punjab are either losing or have lost these elections.
Well, Nidhi, I think I've caught your question, but as you know, I'm in Punjab and you can't be in Punjab during elections and not have loud music, bhangra and dhol happening at the background. I can barely hear myself, but I really want to tell you that a short while ago, the next Chief Minister, if I can already say that, the next Chief Minister of Punjab, Mr. Bhagwat Mann of the Aam Aadmi Party, short while ago addressed the media. That is where he was. That's his office come his residence here in Sangrur, and right on top of that, that's the terrace balcony area. He was accompanied by his mother, by his sister, by Mr. Jarnail Singh, who is the Punjab in charge of the party, and somebody who has played a very crucial role in on the on-ground campaigning, spearheading this campaign for the last few months, along with, of course, the other team members, party members coming in from Delhi and who had been stationed in Punjab for the last few months. And as everyone is pointing this out, this is not just a massive victory for the Aam Aadmi Party, but this is a historic moment in the history of Punjab politics, and not just Punjab politics, but in fact in the history of Indian politics. This will be a very historic moment, because this entire state, Punjab, as we all know, the Grand Old Party was something that had a stronghold for years and for decades, and then for an Aam Aadmi Party to expand its borders beyond the national capital, coming to Punjab and now actually conquering Punjab with such a huge margin, with such overwhelming seats that they've got. Bhagwat Mann, just a quick 2 points that he actually emphasized on is that as soon as he comes to office and starts his duties as the Chief Minister, he said that he will ensure that the unemployment problem, the drugs problem will be eradicated from Punjab. So these are some of the things that Bhagwat Mann addressed. He, of course, opened his speech, his victory speech, by saying Inqilab Zindabad, and he ended his speech by saying Inqilab Zindabad and love you all to all his supporters here. So clearly Bhagwat Mann excited and ready to become the Chief Minister of Punjab, the breadbasket of India.
All right, well, colourful scenes, such a huge win for AAP there. Thanks very much, Sonakshi. And I'm going to head across to Goa now, where the BJP has actually, it appears, sailed ahead comfortably despite exit polls predicting a very close contest. And you can see there 19, just a couple of seats short of the halfway mark. And they've already announced that 3 independents, in fact, are going to be supporting them to form the government. So, Rishika, the BJP clearly in a position then to form the government in Goa.
Well, absolutely, Nidhi, despite all the exit poll predictions and what once felt on the ground that it's going to be, split wide open, it's going to be divided down in the middle between the Congress and the BJP, which is what it was looking like after the first 2 rounds of counting as well. The BJP has comfortably sailed ahead. What I've just learned from the BJP office is that they are confirming that they've in fact picked up another seat. Ponda has also gone to them, so that takes up their tally to 20. This is what we're picking up at the BJP office. We'll of course cross-check this with what the EC data is saying. But they've already come out after the counting was over to the BJP office and said very clearly that they have the support of 3 independent candidates and they are in a position to go ahead and form the next government. I am at a junction outside the BJP headquarters here in Panjim, and there's a victory procession that has been passing by for the last half an hour. They've just been a steady stream of cars or revving motorcycles and flags that have just been passing us by. So this is what's happening on the ground. But I just want to also update you in terms of what we're likely to see happen through the course of the day. All of the elected MLAs are going to be coming to this BJP office behind me in a short while from now. I'm told at around 4 o'clock. That's about an hour and a half from now, after which there will be a legislature party meet, and then they will be heading to the Raj Bhavan to stake claim to form the next government in Goa. I don't know if you can see those pictures behind me, but a huge procession there as well of BJP workers celebrating right outside a temple. So it is celebrations on the streets of Panjim. It's been a pretty decisive verdict in favor of the BJP. Not too much engineering needs to be done for them to form this next government, but I heard you speaking with Sonakshi earlier. It's also being looked at as a big win for the Aam Aadmi Party. Even picking up 2 seats in a state like Goa, small state like Goa, is a big deal.
It certainly is a big deal, and it's new. It's the Aam Aadmi Party opening its account in Goa as well. Thanks very much for that, Rishika. And let me go across to my colleague Akshay. who's in Dehradun, Uttarakhand, the other big election today, where again, despite facing a lot of infighting and anti-incumbency and all the rest of it, look at that. It's a pretty comfortable win there for the BJP as well. Again, despite exit polls saying that it might only have a slight edge. Akshay, you're joining us from the Chief Minister's residence there. In fact, why is it that the Congress really hasn't been able to capitalize on the infighting that the BJP faced over there? Harish Rawat has also lost his seat.
Well, exactly. This was everyone's hope in the Congress party, that because of the anti-incumbency, the Congress party will return to power, and that has been the trend in the state as well. No party has repeated government in the state in its history of about 20-22 years. But Congress party has failed to do that. And while we talk about the anti-incumbency in the Bharatiya Janata Party, the bigger anti-incumbency was there in the Congress party in the state of Uttarakhand. As far as the Chief Minister, former Chief Minister is concerned, Mr. Harish Rawat, his name was announced from the seat of Ramnagar. That is in the Nainital district. However, in the third list, his name was changed from Ramnagar to Lal Kuwa because another leader from the Congress party, Ranjit Singh Rawat, who lost in Ramnagar in 2017, he said that he has been nurturing the constituency for over 5 years, and then he wanted to contest from there. The Congress party removed both of them, had given a salt seat to Mr. Ranjit Rawat, Lal Kuwa to Mr. Harish Rawat, and there was still a lot of infighting. The second thing is Modi factor is still very much relevant from what we have seen on the ground, and the third factor is that the Congress party itself has also failed to capitalize because of the infighting that has been going on in the party. But another important point here, Nidhi, is that we are at the residence of the Chief Minister. And from the scenes behind me, you will not realize that this is the residence of a Chief Minister whose party is winning a comfortable victory. The Chief Minister himself has not come out of his residence since morning, and the reason behind it is he has been very skeptical as far as the voting was concerned in his home constituency, from where he has been an MLA for 2 times. As far as the current update on the voting is concerned, Mr. Chief Minister here, Pushkar Singh Dhami, he is trailing by over 5,000 votes in 6 rounds of voting, and just 4 rounds of voting is left. Harish Rawat himself has lost, but what the trends are showing us right now that Pushkar Singh Dhami might as well lose the elections as far as the state of Uttarakhand is concerned, and we can see other hopefuls in the BJP like Madan Kaushik, who is also the party chief. He can come up with his own name as far as the chief ministership is concerned, though Mr. Pushkar Singh Dhami's name was announced earlier prior than the elections. So it remains to be seen that what exactly is going to be the strategy of the Congress party, but senior leaders like Prahlad Joshi and Kailash Vijayvargiya are already here. And as far as the trend goes, no sitting Chief Minister, Nidhi, has in fact won elections in Uttarakhand, and it seems that the trend is going to continue from the result that we are seeing right now.
Fascinating there. Akshay, thanks very much for that update. We'll come back to you a little later when there perhaps is an official reaction from the sitting Chief Minister. I'll just go across to the Manipur numbers now, which is the other crucial state that voted in this election. And here too, as largely expected, the BJP has comfortably scored a victory. In fact, they have increased the number of seats in their tally, the Congress significantly down. So the BJP in a fairly comfortable position as far as Manipur is concerned. Professor Bimal Akoijam with the Jawaharlal Nehru University joining us to talk about that. Professor, any surprises for you there at all?
At one level, yes. I mean, some of the big guns from the Congress party lost the elections. That's the surprise for me, especially Nambol seat where the Congress president lost. And the only CWC member from the Northeast, Mr. Gaikangam, also lost. So I was expecting Congress to get something around 15 at the most, but I think they will struggle to hit the double digit, it seems, as of now.
What are the implications, though, for long-term politics in Manipur in particular? I mean, this was a state and the entire region, in fact, where the Congress once dominated, and many of those who are in power today with the BJP are former Congress politicians, aren't they? So how has the politics of Manipur and the Northeast transformed as a result of the BJP's dominance now?
See, I think there are a couple of things that we need to know. But the one general remark is that across the country, you see that the smaller states tend to be influenced by whoever rules in New Delhi. Manipur is no exception to that in one level, but at a local specific level, Manipur has states one may not like the expressions, this sense of Delhi deciding its fate for a long time among the northeastern state. I rate Arunachal and Manipur as two states where the influence of Delhi is the highest. And so in that sense, since the BJP is in power in Delhi, the ascendancy of the BJP in Manipur can be understood in that sense. On the other hand, BJP and its sister organization like RSS and others have been pretty active. They've been like sleeper cells in a sense, 1950s, but they have been very active in the last 5 to 6, 7 years. So I think it is paying off in that sense. These are the combination that is a transformation that I see. The other crucial one is that unlike other northeastern states, the regional sentiments, it seems you might sense it among the youngsters, especially on social media, but on the ground, that doesn't work. I mean, in Nagaland and Mizoram, you might see that the regional sentiment and the political expression through certain parties are still there. But in Manipur, I mean, MPP is nowhere here. Manipur People's Party, which was to form the government when the Manipur was upgraded as a full-fledged state in the 70s. So that is almost disappeared. So in that sense, I see that this is a transformation. And in fact, I wrote it. Some people may not like it. There is a convergence between the regional and this hyper-nationalist. It's quite like another Assam, where the Khomia nationalism and the Hindutva nationalism has sort of converged in some sense. In Manipur, it's not a convergence, though you might still see the slogans or otherwise.
In fact, the Chief Minister is speaking, the Chief Minister of Manipur. Let's just listen in. Coming out to speak to the media, Ratnadeep Chaudhary is there for us, and I think we've lost that visual. We'll try and get back to him in just a moment. But yes, it is quite a big win for the BJP in Manipur as well. Big in the sense that yes, they've come back stronger in the state. And as our guest Professor Koijam was pointing out, interesting how nationalist politics has converged there in Manipur with the political sentiment, much like it has in Assam as well. Let me go across to our other guests at this hour. We have Ajoy Bose, senior journalist and commentator, joining us. Geeta Bhatt, she's a political commentator, also a supporter of the BJP. And Ratnadeep Chaudhary, I believe, before I come to the guest, Ratnadeep is back with us. Let me go to him first from Manipur, from Imphal. Ratnadeep, so when are we expecting the next moves politically in Manipur? What happens now?
Well, what we saw in Manipur as of now, that BJP has emerged as a single largest party. Now we'll have to wait for some time more to see whether it is able to get a simple majority or not. And what we are picking up from BJP sources is that in all likelihood, the first offer from BJP in terms of being a partner in a coalition government will be given to the Naka People's Front, which was its partner in the the previous government of Biren Singh. However, we'll have to wait and watch if BJP also offers the National People's Party, which has done also well, because remember, the National People's Party and the BJP in this election have had a war of words, and both the parties accusing each other of creating hurdles in the running of the coalition government. So we have to wait and watch. However, another big headline is the fact that Congress till now has not at all done well. Some of its top leaders have lost the elections, although three-time Chief Minister Okram Ibobi Singh has won. We are coming to you from the residence of Chief Minister N. Biren Singh, who has won his traditional Hengang constituency. A short while back he came out, and you can see there his supporters all happy that the Chief Minister has won, and they feel that the party is going to form the government, and some of them, are very elated that the Chief Minister has won. We'd like to speak to a few of them. आपसे बात करेंगे. आप लोग आपके नेता बीरेन सिंह फिर से जीत गए हैं, कैसा लग रहा है?
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, हम लोग बहुत खुश है, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है.
मगर पार्टी को सिंगल लार्जेस्ट पार्टी हुआ है, मगर जितना सीट आप लोगों ने आशा किया था उतना सीट मिला या कम मिला है?
ज्यादा मिला है.
जितना सीट आशा किया उससे ज्यादा मिला.
हाँ.
और क्या लगता है, अगर बीजेपी सरकार बनाएगी, अगर बना पाती है, तो किसको चीफ मिनिस्टर बनाएंगे?
बीजेपी सरकार बनाएगी तो हम लोग को सीएम ही बनाएंगे बीरेन सिंह.
तो आप लोग बीरेन सिंह को फिर सीएम में देखना चाहते हैं. तो देयर यू आर, हिज सपोर्टर्स क्लियरली सेइंग, बीरेन सिंह सपोर्टर्स क्लियरली सेइंग दैट दे आर कॉन्फिडेंट दैट the party would be able to form a government, and they want to see Biren Singh as the Chief Minister another time.
Very much for that update, Ratnadeep. And let's go across to my colleague Anjali, who is at the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters here in Delhi. Bhagwant Mann, all set to be the next Chief Minister of Punjab, but this was very much a campaign that was led by Arvind Kejriwal. Anjali, I'm not even going to try and ask you a question, so tell us what's happening.
Well, I'm lucky. It seems the minute you asked me the question,
आप सभी से अनुरोध है कि सब लोग कृपया अंदर आ जाइए. माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी आपके बीच में
आम आदमी पार्टी
बस कुछ ही पलों में पहुंचने वाले हैं. आप सबको बहुत 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 बधाई. भारत माता की, भारत माता की, इनकलाब,
and now all these workers are waiting only for the Chief Minister to come here, and right up there where you see that stage is where he will stand and then address the crowd. Exactly 3 years ago, I was standing right here at the same spot.
Arvind Kejriwal.
They had won Delhi the second time.
Arvind Kejriwal.
At that time,
Kejriwal model Zindabad.
Did not
Kejriwal model
Zindabad. But now the messaging here
Kejriwal
is quite
Zindabad.
clear. When the leaders over here are speaking, they are clearly stating that Aam Aadmi Party is the only party that can give competition to BJP. They are saying Arvind Kejriwal is the only person who can give competition to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So the messaging here seems to be quite clear that now they're aiming for national politics. I'm going to quickly show you again the kind of crowd that has come over here to hear what Mr. Kejriwal has to say. And it seems right now he's not very far off, because we can see all the cameras getting over there trying to catch a glimpse of him, and all the workers have been told to meet here. Now when I was in Punjab, I could sense this excitement over there, but the way we have seen all the big faces falling in Punjab of the other parties, it has been a huge victory for Aam Aadmi Party. And the way Bhagwant Mann mentioned each one of them by name, saying that they've lost. You should have seen the way everybody over here was roused. So one thing is clear, Aam Aadmi Party is now making much bigger plans, as you can see.
Right, well, we're waiting now, so we'll hopefully hear from Arvind Kejriwal as well in the next few minutes. Anjali, it's quite noisy there, not surprisingly. Thanks a lot for joining us. Before we go into a break, let me get quick comments from our guests at this hour. Ajoy Bose, you've covered Uttar Pradesh for a long time as a journalist. Of course, there is the big victory of, Yogi Adityanath, the return to power after more than 3 decades, which is quite historic. But also, interestingly, when you look at the other opposition parties, it seems to have now boiled down to becoming a bipolar contest in UP. There's no sign of the BSP or the Congress.
Firstly, it's great to do a show after a gap with you. But honestly, Uttar Pradesh has changed completely. If you look at the history of Samajwadi Party, this is by far the highest vote percentage they've got. In 2012, they swept to victory with less than 30% vote. And this time they are sort of slotted to probably get about 35 or 36%. But this is no good because the BJP has got 45% vote or 44% vote, and it shows that the others have virtually got nothing. The Congress, of course, has been fading in UP for a long time, but the BSP and Mayawati, who really was the kind of end of the road for quite a while and always held to her vote, has obviously diminished hugely. And I think that is very, very important, because once it becomes different, Uttar Pradesh entire scenario is different. I think we will see many changes in Uttar Pradesh. I mean, we will look at where does Mayawati's still loyal Jata vote, which is still giving her 12-13%. I don't know how much she will get ultimately. But, you know, that is purely the Jata vote. Nobody else is voting for her. And this Jata vote will one day wake up and find that that dream of having their own party coming to power is gone. And Banji will never, ever be in power again. And that is likely to happen sooner or later. You know, it is something which really changes the entire political dynamic in Uttar Pradesh.
Absolutely.
And we'll have to really watch and wait.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about, because there is, like you said, a massive impact this is going to have, not just in UP, but reverberations nationally as well. Geeta Bhatt, a lot of commentary today on how women voters in particular have voted with the BJP, the welfare schemes combined with the Hindutva campaign, ultimately working for the party in a big way.
Definitely, Nidhi, a very historic day in many ways, and a very emphatic win as the leads are, projecting. So definitely, this is going to decide the discourse, the electoral discourse, the political discourse. So that way, this particular day, these results, they are definitely very significant. And we saw that most of the exit polls, they first of all, very categorically showed that the number of women voters who turned, especially in the last 3 phases, on an average were 11% more. And also that most of the women voters, because of the various welfare schemes, Labharthis who were getting the ration being delivered to the last person in the society, and the law and order situation, I think these were two things which actually resonated with the women voters in Uttar Pradesh. Also, one more aspect that I wanted to put forth was that till 2018 elections, state elections which took place, time and again it was being told that although on the national level, when there is a Lok Sabha election, BJP is doing very well. But in the state election, somehow, because of anti-incumbency, they are not able to repeat themselves and so on. So that also has, taken that particular aspect also this time has changed. We see that it is a pro-incumbency vote, which I think is something which is very, very significant. Also, I think, as you also mentioned, that these elections, they have become a bipolar elections, even whether it was in West Bengal or in Uttar Pradesh also. So the role and significance of what we can call as the sub-regional leaders who, they changed, like we saw Swami Prasad Maurya going, and I think probably he has lost. He was trailing when I saw, and also there was no communal polarizing in the election, which was also a very important aspect to see that today the Indian voter is a very informed voter. The information that someone has in Devariya or in Fazil Nagar is the same information that I have sitting at Delhi, and they are taking very informed decision, and they are now evaluating on governance, on issues which are concerned to their day-to-day life, and also, yes, that which political party is coming out and giving respect to the cultural ethos and to the heritage of this country. That also is playing a very important aspect.
All right, well, interesting analysis there, Geeta Bhatt. We have to take a break, but before we do that, just live pictures that that are coming to us from the stage here in Delhi, where Arvind Kejriwal is expected to come out and address the Aam Aadmi Party. He was at the Hanuman Temple in Delhi just a little while earlier with Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. On the right there, pictures of Bhagwant Mann, all said to be the next Chief Minister of Punjab, when he addressed the media just a short while ago. And Punjab, boy, what an election that's been. So many stalwarts of this state have lost the election today, including Chief Minister Channi, who's lost both his seats. Sukhbir Badal is trailing at the moment. I think some channels have already said he's lost. We're just waiting for official confirmation of that. Prakash Singh Badal, the Akali stalwart, also trailing in his seat. So the Aam Aadmi Party has really stolen a march here in Punjab, which is decisively voted for change across party lines, clearly voting in favour of the AAP. We'll take a break, back with much more on today's big story after that. And let's go straight to pictures now coming from the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters here in Delhi, where Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi Chief Minister and the head of the AAP, is expected to meet party workers and the media shortly. The stunning victory of the Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab is really something, quite something. More than 90 seats now the party is leading in, decimating the Congress, the Akalis completely, despite what some exit polls had shown, though mostly it was showing an AAP victory in Punjab. But for the Congress, another stunning defeat. The Chief Minister losing both his seats. For the Akalis also, Sukhbir Badal and Prakash Singh Badal also behind. And Navjot Singh Sidhu has also, we hear, lost his seat, Amritsar East. He had, of course, been making headlines for various reasons, but the factionalism in the Congress in Punjab clearly costing the party as well. But the voters of Punjab have spoken decisively for a complete change. They have defeated big political faces across the political spectrum in the state, giving the AAP a huge boost on the national stage. The Aam Aadmi Party now emerging on the national stage beyond Delhi. It has also won 2 seats in Goa today, which is extremely significant. It has opened its account, even though it's a tiny state, but it is reflective of the kind of national footprint that the AAP is seeking, as it is looking to fill in gaps that have been created by the Congress. It's not just the AAP, but the TMC as well, that is looking to expand its footprint beyond Bengal. So these are parties now that are looking at states and regions where the Congress used to be strong, spaces that it has vacated because of its own internal problems. And these are the parties, these regional forces now, like the AAP and the TMC, that are filling up that space that the Congress has vacated. And for Arvind Kejriwal, the important site now will be the Gujarat election. That is the next big state where elections will take place by the end of this year. And the AAP has already had some inroads there in urban local body polls. And that is where Arvind Kejriwal is hoping that once again, in a state where the Congress has, in a sense, been decimated and lost support over the years, that the Aam Aadmi Party could step in. So this is going to change national politics in a big way, way beyond what happens in Punjab. My colleague Anjali Istiwal has been at the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters and brings us more.
Well, it seems at the Aam Aadmi Party headquarters, everybody is getting ready for the results. The enthusiasm is there, morale is high, and as you can see, the flash mob of Aam Aadmi Party is here and they're all ready to perform. The music has started and there are certain signature steps that they have zeroed down on, and these dancers, you know, it's quite interesting. I'll tell you one thing, I met these dancers last time I was here for Aam Aadmi Party's election that they won in Delhi Legislative Assembly. And now once again the same people are there. I recognize some of them and they're the same set of people, and that shows the kind of enthusiasm they have for their party. Very quickly we'll show you the dance. ये आपका signature step है. The signature step. बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया. लेकिन ये जानना चाहेंगे
एक महीने से वीकेंड पे कर रहे थे एक महीना।
ये डांस किसने कोरियोग्राफ किया?
हम सब लोगों ने मिलके
थोड़े स्टेप्स डाले हैं सबने
मिलके बनाया है। हम सबने आवाज सीख के प्रैक्टिस करी है, अपना स्टेप बनाया हमने।
ये सिग्नेचर स्टेप किसने दिया?
सबने मिलके
छोटा डाल के हमने एक सिग्नेचर स्टेप बना लिया और वो
टीम सिंपल है। एक मौका देना केजरीवाल।
अच्छा एक बार लेट्स डिकोड दिस स्टेप। कैसे है?
एक मौका देना में देखिए एक मौका देना केजरीवाल।
अच्छा ये झाड़ू
एक मौका देना
भगवंत मान। नहीं पर मूछ तो केजरीवाल साहब की भी है। तो हमें भगवंत मान जी को देना है ना। Quite an interesting mix of people over here, and you know it's quite interesting to see they've been practicing every weekend, and this signature step has also been designed especially for the elections. They've never even met Bhagwant Mann, but they have all the love and the enthusiasm for Bhagwant Mann. From Aam Aadmi Party headquarters with Meher Pandey, this is Anjali Istawal for NDTV.
All right, let's just take a look at some of the big names who have won and lost this election. Well, apart from Mr. Bharat Bhushan, who's lost in Punjab, the bigger story actually is emerging of Chief Minister Channi losing both his seats. Sukhbir Badal has also apparently lost his seat. I think these graphics are outdated. Let's take them off. Let's please take them off. We're just going to update them, but Sukhbir Badal also has reportedly lost his seat. Navjot Singh Sidhu, Amrinder Singh, Captain Amrinder Singh, who was the Congress's chief minister in Punjab, who was then unceremoniously removed, leading to a bitter factional fight within the Congress party. He has lost his seat as well. Both the Badals, as I said, Sidhu as well. So the Aam Aadmi Party's victory very, very strong there in Punjab. The election campaign, of course, always full of colour. My colleague Meher Pandey sent us this report from the party headquarters in Delhi.
Right now we are outside the AAP headquarters in Delhi with a baby Kejriwal and a baby Bhagwant Mann all in one. Sir, हम आपसे थोड़ा पूछना चाहेंगे, आपने आज का कॉस्ट्यूम है क्या?
ये कॉस्ट्यूम तो एक्चुअली में ये आम आदमी पार्टी की ही तरफ से इनको बेबी मफलर मैन का खिताब दिया हुआ है जी। और 2020 में ये एक बेबी मफलर मैन के नाम से फेमस हुए थे, और जो कि सीएम साहब ने अपना ओथ सेरेमनी में भी इनको स्पेशल इनवाइटी के तरीके से इनवाइट किया गया था। तो हमारा पूरा परिवार आम आदमी पार्टी के लिए और केजरीवाल जी के लिए समर्पित है। और अभी हम पंजाब कैंपेनिंग में भी 10 दिन वहाँ पंजाब गए थे, तो इसी रूप में हम लेके वहाँ जाते थे। अलग अलग कॉन्स्टिट्यूंस में हम जाते थे। लोगों को हमें लोगों का बहुत प्यार मिलता था, लोग बहुत अप्रिशिएट करते थे, और हमें उम्मीद थी कि भाई 85+ सीट से आएंगी। तो आज हम वो चीज़ें फली हुई देख रहे हैं कि हमारे को 100% उम्मीद है कि भगवंत मान साहब अगले 2, 4, 5, 10 दिन में हमारे एक नए सीएम बनेंगे आम आदमी पार्टी की तरफ से।
और इनकी पगड़ी बहुत क्यूट लग रही है। कब बांधी, किसने बांधी और कितना टाइम?
सबसे पहले अर्ली मॉर्निंग हम उठ के सबसे पहले गुरुद्वारे गए थे। कल ही हमने बात कर ली थी एक वहाँ के जो सेवादार हैं कि सर हमें अर्ली मॉर्निंग सीएम साहब के घर पे और पार्टी के उसमें जाना है, तो वो उस चीज़ के लिए रेडी हो गए। और उन्होंने 4 o'clock की इनकी पगड़ी गुरुद्वारे में हमने बंधवाई, अरदास करी, और फिर उसके बाद हम सीएम साहब के घर डायरेक्ट गए, और वहाँ से फिर अब हम पार्टी ऑफिस आ रहे हैं।
अच्छा, उनके घर पर भी गए आप?
हाँ जी, हम उनके घर पे गए थे, और उनके घर के सामने एक हमारा अलग तरीके से वो रहता है कि सबसे पहले उनको ऑल द बेस्ट एक रंगोली बनाते हैं, और वहाँ पे जाके रंगोली बनाई, मैसेज कन्वे हुआ, तो हमें बहुत अच्छा लगता है। सबसे पहले जाके सीएम साहब के पास हम जाके ऑल द बेस्ट बोल के आए, फिर हम पार्टी ऑफिस हैं।
आप कहाँ से हैं सर? दिल्ली से हैं, पंजाब से हैं?
नहीं, हम दिल्ली से ही हैं, मयूर विहार से, और 2011 से ही जब से पार्टी फॉर्म हुई थी 2012, तब से पार्टी से जुड़े हुए हैं।
और बेबी केजरीवाल, आपका नाम क्या है?
नेम बताइए।
अभियान तोमर केजरीवाल।
अभियान तोमर केजरीवाल। हाँ, ये सीएम साहब के जैसे कभी मिलने जाते हैं कभी घर से, तो वो भी उन्होंने पूछा, तो सबसे पहले उनको भी यही बोलता है कि आपका नाम क्या है, तो अभियान तोमर केजरीवाल, तो मतलब अपना सरनेम भी अब इन्होंने केजरीवाल लगाना शुरू कर दिया।
अच्छा, okay, thank you so much, sir. So this is how excited people are that the Aam Aadmi Party is now very likely to form the government in a new state, the first start-up party ever in the country to do so. The celebrations in the headquarters have already started. As you can hear, the music is on, and the celebrations will go on until the final result comes out. But they are very confident at this point. With Mohammed Bursaleen, Meher Pandey for NDTV.
And if you thought that was colourful, see what my colleague Alok Pandey has sent from the BJP headquarters in Lucknow.
It's a day of celebration at the BJP office here in Lucknow, and perhaps the colour that you see on an election day is something that you won't on another day. Now, of all things that you can see, you have a young kid dressed as the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister, as Yogi Adityanath. In fact, I saw that at his back there's also a poster, if we can just, or a banner or something, it says Jai Shri Ram. मैं योगी मोदी जी आपको यूपी की जीत की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। आप इनको वापस इधर कर दीजिए। क्या नाम है इनका?
निव्या।
कितने साल के हैं?
1.5 साल के। हाँ? 1.5 साल के।
1.5 साल के हैं। ये बुलडोजर इनको दिलाने का आइडिया किसका था? आपका?
डैडी का था मेरे।
ये आपके पिताजी हैं? अच्छा, क्या नाम है आपका?
मेरा नाम रवि चौधरी है।
नवीन जी, छोटे से बच्चे को लाए हैं, बुलडोजर भी दे के लाए हैं, क्या आइडिया?
आइडिया ये है कि मैं योगी के काम से मेरा पूरा परिवार बहुत संतुष्ट है। आज हम लोग जो चल रहे हैं ये योगी जी की देन है। डर भय के मुक्त होकर आज हमारे बच्चियां बाहर निकल रही हैं, ये योगी जी की देन है और योगी जी के काम से बहुत संतुष्ट हैं और इसीलिए मेरा पूरा परिवार योगी जी से समर्थक में मिलकर इस पूरी ड्रेस को मेरे पूरे परिवार ने मिलकर इसको रचाया है।
थोड़ी देर बाद तो मुझे लगता है लेके जाना पड़ेगा, रोने लगेगा बाद में आपको।
ये बहुत हिम्मती है। अच्छा। ये बहुत हिम्मती है, रोएगा नहीं। ये बिल्कुल बुलडोजर की तरीके मजबूत बना रहेगा। ये जो छोटे योगी है ये उसकी देन है।
मैम, आपके लिए बीजेपी के कैंपेन में सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा क्या था जिसकी वजह से आपको लगता है जीत हुई है?
महिला सुरक्षा।
महिला सुरक्षा, और वो उन्होंने हम लोग के लिए बहुत कुछ किया। उन्होंने हम लोग को राशन वासन सब कुछ दिलवाया, इस वजह से वो है। और सबसे बड़ी बात तो महिला सुरक्षा कि वो। जी
चलिए ठीक है। पहले कभी भी ये योगी आदित्यनाथ बने हैं कि पहली बार बने हैं?
ये पहली बार बने।
पहली बार बने,
मगर एक इनसे बड़ी बहन है वो बन चुकी है।
अच्छा
जी, पहले भी वो बन चुकी है, उन्हें डैडी ने बनवाया।
So there you have it, like I said, unique shots here at the BJP office in Lucknow.
All right, the colour there also coming in from Goa. My colleague Rishika Barua is there, and she's just spoken to Vishwajit Rane and his wife just a little while earlier.
All right, well, joining us on NDTV, man of the moment, Vishwajit Rane. It's a spectacular win for you.
Thank you so much. This is a credit to the country's Prime Minister and for all that he has done for the state of Goa. And it's unbelievable faith my people have put in me, and this victory is of the people and the leadership of the Bharatiya Janata Party, that is our country's Prime Minister. That's why we have been sweeping, and also all these guys who came into the state with all tails, and especially the Congress party and other parties who have only fooled the people in the past. Actual work, road infrastructure, road network, women empowerment, employment was generated by our government.
You're very emotional today.
I'm emotional because this is my 7th election, and people have reposed faith in me once again, and I give total, this is only credited to my leader, national leaders, my Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, Amit Shah ji, my Goa in charge, Devendra Fadnavis ji, JP Nadda ji, our party president in Goa, Shri Sadanand Tanawade, and all of us as a team, we have worked hard to see that BJP comes to where it is today.
What's it going to be like by the end of the day today?
I think BJP will form the government. But we should inch. I told you yesterday only that BJP is inching towards the majority. BJP will form the government.
And who is going to support you?
No, the party leadership will decide. The leaders are all here. They will decide. C.T. Raviji is here.
Are you in touch with any of the regional leaders? MGP?
Our leaders are in touch. Our leaders are in touch. Our leaders are in touch.
You've got very emotional. Your wife this was her first election.
I have not seen overall what is going on in that constituency because I was so focused, because from this election, you found some trends which are emerging. And these are trends to be learnt. We cannot, though you get the numbers, you cannot become complacent because those trends are not good trends. I've seen some trends which are, even in my constituency, which have come up in spite of doing a lot of work. So one has to start working from day one from tomorrow. So this election is in a learning.
You credit everything to the national leadership of the BJP. You also have a family legacy. Your father, is a legend as far as Goa politics is concerned.
I've learned all the politics and everything what needs to be done for the people is from my father. So basically, he has been a father figure and a teacher, and I've learned everything from him: how to serve the people, how to eliminate poverty and the problems of the people. And I've always lived with the people. I believe in simplicity. I believe in commitments. I believe in seeing that we empower the people and not fool around with the mandate that you get.
Your supporters have been chanting, "Baba, tum CM bano."
No, my supporters, everybody, they have their own aspirations. They would like to see their leader grow, but my leadership is the one that takes decisions of what they want to do in the state of Goa.
Am I speaking with the next CM candidate?
No, it's too premature to even go in that direction, because the party leadership decides all these things. I am not authorized to say anything. I want to work for the party, strengthen the party, and I'm a disciplined soldier of the BJP. Whatever party decides is fine with me.
Thank you very much, Vishwajit Rane, for speaking with NDTV. So as you can see, we are inside his vehicle right now, and if my camera person can just pan and show you, there has been a line of supporters, kilometers long line of supporters, people just waiting to congratulate him, get a glimpse, interact with him, shake his hand. He periodically keeps getting out of the car, and this is what it's like, and it's been like this for several kilometers right outside the polling station here in North Goa. With the camera person Sanjay Mandal, Rishika Barua for NDTV. Well, she's a first-time MLA, but she's won with a huge margin. Divya Rane is with us on NDTV. Heartiest congratulations. What's the final margin been?
14,000.
Well, that's the
Highest in the Goa.
Highest in Goa.
Well, lead of 14,000, and this is a victory of my people. The support they showed me during elections for my every meeting, they've translated it into votes, and this is just a surreal moment, because this is my first election, and the love and the blessings they've given me has got me this lead, and they've my father-in-law had a record of 50 years, and they've done a record again in a different form. So our constituency has done it again.
We spoke to your husband earlier. He was very emotional. He broke down. He was in tears. Very, very overwhelming for you as a family.
Very, very overwhelming, because we were under a lot of stress, and a lot of things have happened, but we have sailed through everything with flying colors, and I'm very happy that the Bharatiya Janata Party is forming the government again in Goa, and I'm a elected representative of the Bharatiya Janata Party under Modi ji. So I'm very, very happy today. The happiest moment of my life.
There were lots of cries, asking your husband to be CM, his supporters.
Sorry?
His supporters were chanting outside his car, asking him to be CM.
Yes. So that is whatever the party decides, that's going to be final.
Thanks very much for speaking to us, and congratulations.
Well, throughout this very high voltage, high drama election, NDTV's special coverage has also seen a big traction amongst the users of the social media platform Coup, which is among our election partners this year. It's been great to see how many users of Coup, in fact, have been following NDTV's coverage, and we do look forward to interacting with you on the platform. We'll take a break, back with more at the top of the hour.
Vande! पंजाब के लोगों ने कमाल कर दिया। पंजाब वाले हो तुसी कमाल कर दिता। We all love you, Punjab. जो पंजाब के नतीजे आए हैं, ये एक बहुत बड़ा इनकलाब है। पंजाब के नतीजे बहुत बड़ा इनकलाब है। बड़ी बड़ी कुर्सियां हिल गई हैं आज पंजाब के अंदर। सुखबीर सिंह बादल हार गए, कैप्टन साहब हार गए, चन्नी साहब हार गए, प्रकाश सिंह बादल साहब हार गए, नवजोत सिंह सिद्धू हार गए, विक्रम सिंह मजीठिया हार गए। पंजाब के लोगों ने कमाल कर दिया दोस्तों। बहुत बड़ा इनकलाब है ये, बहुत बड़ा इनकलाब है। भगत सिंह ने एक बारी कहा था, भगत सिंह ने कहा था, आजादी मिलने के बाद अगर हमने सिस्टम नहीं बदला, केवल अंग्रेजों को देश से भगा दिया और सिस्टम नहीं बदला, तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला। दोस्तों, दुख की बात है कि पिछले 75 साल से इन पार्टियों ने और इन नेताओं ने वो अंग्रेजों वाला सिस्टम रखा हुआ था। लूट रहे थे देश को। कोई स्कूल नहीं बनाए, कोई अस्पताल नहीं बनाए, लोगों को जानबूझ के गरीब रखा गया। पूरा का पूरा वही अंग्रेजों वाला सिस्टम चल रहा था। आम आदमी पार्टी ने ये सिस्टम बदला है पिछले 7 साल के अंदर। हमने ये सिस्टम बदला है। हमने ईमानदार राजनीति की शुरुआत की है। हमने लोगों के काम की शुरुआत की है। अब बच्चों के स्कूल बनने लगे हैं, गरीबों के बच्चों को अच्छी शिक्षा मिलने लगी है। बाबा साहब अंबेडकर और भगत सिंह जी का सपना पूरा होने लगा है। लेकिन दोस्तों, ये इतना आसान नहीं है। ये लोग सारे मिलके, बहुत बड़ी बड़ी ताकतें हैं, बहुत बड़ी बड़ी ताकतें हैं। हम लोग तो बहुत छोटे हैं इनके सामने। बहुत बड़ी बड़ी ताकतें, ये सारी ताकतें मिलके आज देश को आगे बढ़ने से रोकना चाहती हैं। आपने देखा होगा पंजाब में कितने बड़े बड़े षड्यंत्र किए गए, कितना रोज सुनते थे ये पार्टी वाले अपना वोट इसको यहां से ट्रांसफर कर देंगे, इसको यहां से ट्रांसफर। सारे इकट्ठे हो गए आम आदमी पार्टी के खिलाफ, सब इकट्ठे हो गए और इनसे बात कर कहते थे एक ही मकसद है सबका, आम आदमी पार्टी नहीं आनी चाहिए, चाहे कोई पार्टी आ जाए। सबका एक ही मकसद था, आम आदमी पार्टी नहीं आनी चाहिए, कोई भी पार्टी आ जाए। बड़े बड़े षड्यंत्र किए इन लोगों ने। अंत में ये सारे इकट्ठे होके बोले केजरीवाल आतंकवादी है। दोस्तों, आज इन नतीजों के जरिए जनता ने बोल दिया, देश की जनता ने बोल दिया, केजरीवाल आतंकवादी नहीं है। केजरीवाल देश का सच्चा सपूत है। केजरीवाल देश का सच्चा सपूत है। केजरीवाल सच्चा देशभक्त है। जनता ने अपना नतीजा सुना दिया। जनता कह रही है केजरीवाल आतंकवादी नहीं है, आतंकवादी तुम लोग हो जो देश को लूट रहे हो सारे मिलके। दोस्तों, आज हम सब लोगों को संकल्प लेना है। हम सब लोगों को संकल्प लेना, एक नया भारत बनाएंगे। एक ऐसा भारत बनाएंगे जहां एक इंसान दूसरे इंसान से प्यार करेगा, मोहब्बत करेगा, कोई नफरत की कोई जगह नहीं होगी उस भारत के अंदर। एक ऐसा भारत बनाएंगे जहां कोई भूखा नहीं सोएगा। एक ऐसा भारत बनाएंगे जहां हमारी मां बहनें सुरक्षित होंगी। एक ऐसा भारत बनाएंगे जहां पे अमीरों और गरीबों के बच्चे को एक जैसी अच्छी से अच्छी शिक्षा मिलेगी। एक ऐसा भारत बनाएंगे। मुझे बड़ा दुख होता है, आज आजादी के 75 साल के बाद हमारे बच्चों को मेडिकल की शिक्षा लेने के लिए यूक्रेन जैसे छोटे से देश में जाना पड़ता है। हम एक ऐसा भारत बनाएंगे जहां पे खूब सारे मेडिकल कॉलेज खोलेंगे, खूब सारे इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज खोलेंगे। हम एक ऐसा भारत बनाएंगे जहां से भारत के बच्चों को यूक्रेन नहीं जाना पड़ेगा, पूरी दुनिया के बच्चे भारत में शिक्षा लेने के लिए आया करेंगे। हम एक ऐसा भारत बनाएंगे। आज बहुत सारे लोग मेरे को टीवी में देख रहे होंगे, जो लोग मेरे को टीवी में देख रहे हैं, जितनी महिलाएं देख रही हैं, मेरी मां बहनें देख रही हैं, जितने युवा देख रहे हैं, जितने किसान देख रहे हैं, जितने मजदूर देख रहे हैं, जितने इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट देख रहे हैं, जितने व्यापारी देख रहे हैं, जितने लोग आज टीवी पे मुझे देख रहे हैं, उन सबको मैं कहना चाहता हूं, आप सब लोग, मैं जानता हूं, जब आप देखते हो कि किस तरह से नेता और पार्टियां मिलकर देश को लूट रहे हैं, आपके दिल में भी बड़ा दुख होता है, आपको बहुत गुस्सा आता है इन लोगों के खिलाफ, आप भी कुछ करना चाहते हो। आज समय आ गया है, पहले दिल्ली में इंकलाब हुआ, अब पंजाब में इंकलाब हुआ, अब यह इंकलाब पूरे देश के अंदर फैलेगा। जो लोग आज ये टीवी देख रहे हैं, सब लोगों को मैं कहना चाहता हूं, सारी महिलाएं आम आदमी पार्टी ज्वाइन करें, सारे युवा आम आदमी पार्टी ज्वाइन करें, सारे किसान आम आदमी पार्टी ज्वाइन करें, सारे मजदूर, सारे व्यापारी, सारे उद्योगपति सब आम आदमी पार्टी ज्वाइन करें। आपको लगेगा कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं, एक आम आदमी को लगता है मैं क्या कर सकता हूं, मैं तो बहुत छोटा हूं। आपको पता है कि चरणजीत चन्नी जी को आज किसने हराया है? भदौर से लाभ सिंह उगोके। कौन है ये लाभ सिंह उगोके? मोबाइल रिपेयर करने वाली दुकान में नौकरी करता है। मोबाइल रिपेयर करने वाली दुकान में नौकरी करता है। उनकी माताजी एक सरकारी स्कूल के अंदर सफाई कर्मचारी का काम करती हैं। उनके पिताजी खेतों में मजदूरी करते हैं। ऐसे व्यक्ति ने चरणजीत सिंह चन्नी को आज चुनाव में हराया है। आपको पता है नवजोत सिंह सिद्धू को किसने हराया है? हमारी एक महिला वॉलंटियर है, आम महिला है, आम वॉलंटियर है, जीवनजोत कौर। उन्होंने मजीठिया को भी हरा दिया और उन्होंने सिद्धू को भी हरा दिया। तो दोस्तों, आम आदमी में बड़ी ताकत है। मैं बार बार कहता हूं, इस आम आदमी को चुनौती मत दो। ये जिस दिन खड़ा हो गया, बड़े बड़े इंकलाब आ जाएंगे, बड़ी बड़ी कुर्सियां हिल जाएंगे। तो आज मैं सब लोगों को, देश के लोगों को आह्वान करता हूं, अपनी ताकत को पहचानो, खड़े हो जाओ। अब इंकलाब लाना है देश के अंदर। समय आ गया है भारत का। 75 साल हम लोगों ने खराब कर दिए, अब और टाइम खराब नहीं करना। सब लोग आम आदमी पार्टी ज्वाइन करो। आम आदमी पार्टी कोई पार्टी नहीं है, आम आदमी पार्टी इंकलाब का नाम है। आम आदमी पार्टी भगत सिंह के सपनों को पूरा करने का नाम है। मैं आज मेरे छोटे भाई भगवंत सिंह मान जी को पंजाब का सीएम बनने के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई देना चाहता हूं। और मैं पूरी उम्मीद करता हूं, मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि जो उम्मीद 90 के पार सीट हो चुकी हैं अभी तक, अभी नतीजे और आ रहे हैं। इतना बड़ा बहुमत, ये डर भी लगता है। लोगों ने बड़ी उम्मीदें जताई है, लोगों ने बड़ा विश्वास किया है। इस विश्वास को हमें टूटने नहीं देना, सबको पूरा करना है। तो एक तो ये कि हमारे जितने कार्यकर्ता हैं, मैं बार बार कहता हूं, हमें घमंड नहीं करना, हमें अहंकार नहीं करना, हमें बदतमीजी नहीं करनी। ये लोग हमें गालियां देंगे। इन्होंने चुनाव में मेरे को कितनी गालियां दी, केजरीवाल के कपड़े खराब हैं, केजरीवाल काला है, केजरीवाल अंग्रेज है, केजरीवाल पता नहीं क्या क्या आतंकवादी है। हमें इन गाली का जवाब गाली से नहीं देना। हमें इस देश की राजनीति बदलनी है। कोई आपको गाली दे तो बोलो जी गाली आपकी, आपको मुबारक, मैंने स्वीकार ही नहीं की आपकी गाली। हमें प्यार और मोहब्बत की राजनीति लेके आनी है। हमें सेवा की राजनीति करनी है। कहीं कोई बीमार दिखे, कहीं कोई मुसीबत में दिखे उसकी मदद करो। हमें सेवा की राजनीति करनी है। मैं अभी हनुमान जी के मंदिर से आ रहा हूं, उनका आशीर्वाद लेने के लिए गया था। उनका आशीर्वाद लिया और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि आने वाला समय भारत का समय है और भारत दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश बनने से अब कोई नहीं रोक सकता। दोस्तों, भारत माता की इनकलाब, इनकलाब।
All right, Arvind Kejriwal there in his victory speech, where he's spoken a lot about the country's progress and what next for India, which is clearly a signal about his national ambitions. And that man on the screen there, Bhagwant Mann, all set to be the next Chief Minister of Punjab. Arvind Kejriwal saying that they are all that everyone conspired against him, called him a terrorist, but that the people have spoken, that Kejriwal is a true Desh Bhakt, a true patriot, and the terrorists are the ones who are looting the country. The Punjab decision he described as a revolution. I'd like to go first for a quick comment across to my guest here in the studio. Mr. Alok Vats, leader of the BJP, is joining us. We'll go across to our other panelists very shortly. Alok ji, before I come and talk to you about Uttar Pradesh, how do you see the entry of Arvind Kejriwal now on the national stage? Iska matlab there will be now an impact in the way the opposition does its politics, won't it?
Whatever the opposition does is different, but as I have been seeing his speech, he clearly has indicated that he will be proclaiming himself to be a force to reckon with at the national level too. He has been inviting the whole of India, almost all sections of people, to come and join AAP. This victory has given him a moral boost, and yes, as of a regional party, I think this is the first time that the regional party like Aam Aadmi Party has gone to another state and and there they have a thumping majority win. Obviously, it will boost. And now, as the opposition is in shackles at the national level, if you ask me, there is no forceful opposition. So this will also give him a confidence, and maybe he has been aligning with all the opposition parties to form a formidable front to oppose us. So,
do you see him as a challenger, for instance, to begin with in Gujarat? Because the elections, the next big election is in Gujarat at the end of the year. And already, again, it's a state where the Congress has weakened considerably over the years. So, do you think that that will be a challenge?
He is eating into the votes of Congress. He has done that in Delhi and in Punjab also. He has eroded their base, also the base of Akali Dal also. And Gujarat, he won't be a force to reckon with, because Gujarat already is a very developed state, and Modi ji's tenure of 3 years, and after that the others are towing the same line. People want relief, people want good governance, which is already there, which was missing in Punjab, where he could make an inroad and come back with such a formidable and thumping majority. There is no scope for any of these things to get inside. Already it's a developed state, and people are and things are getting more and more developed.
Okay, you don't see it as much a challenge in Gujarat, but you acknowledge that it's certainly a big boost.
But yes, at the national level, when he goes in the conclave, he will say that now you people rally behind me.
Rally around
yes.
him. We have Daniel Francis, he's a political commentator, joining us as well. Adil Singh Boparai of the Congress party is with us. And Adil Singh Boparai, not an easy day for all of you, but as the story of Punjab and UP and all these states today shows, it is the further decline of your party, the Congress party. How do you see this today?
Well, Nidhi, certainly it's a challenging moment for the Congress party. I wouldn't deny that. And Punjab most certainly has been a disappointment. It was a state for the Congress party's taking, but it's I think a host of factors which have gone into the Congress party's defeat in Punjab. Number one, we did try to make a fresh start by bringing in Chief Minister Channi. Unfortunately, Captain Amrinder Singh's anti-incumbency remains stuck. There is the issue of infighting, which the Congress party needs to address. Specifically in Punjab, I think the infighting has taken a toll on us. And as far as the Aam Aadmi Party and its correlation with Punjab is concerned, since that was the question which you put to the previous speaker, I think it's an outlier election as far as Punjab is concerned. To extrapolate that and say that this could perhaps be a model for the rest of the country would be far-fetched. But notwithstanding what has happened today, I certainly think we need to go back to the drawing board and we need to make certain changes. We have to transform ourselves. We have to creatively reinvent ourselves. And these are not expressions or phrases which, as spokespersons, which we should just make on television, but I think there is an urgent need for introspection, and we will certainly meet the challenge.
Well, like I said, brave words. I think the worst job today is that of Congress spokespersons to come and sort of explain what's happening to your party. But Daniel Francis, you know, as far as the Congress is concerned, just to stay on that for one more moment, is now an earthquake really required in the party? And by earthquake, I mean, you know, the Gandhis just have to go. It's clearly not worked, has it?
No, I think the Congress as a
party... They will never accept that.
If I can say.
Yeah, Daniel.
The Congress as a party should have started its complete going to the drawing board in 2014. You know, 2014 was also a big election for them. When a party that has ruled India, you know, for 65 years is brought down to 44. That's when you have to go to the drawing board and look at your leadership, look at your political and social positions, your economic positions, throw fresh leadership and so on and so forth. I think the successive years that the party has really lost in making the kind of changes that a party in crisis has to make has now compelled the people to look beyond the Congress party to parties that look like the Congress, but are giving them an assurance, giving them a perception that they are these parties who will fight formidably on their behalf. That is why Aam Aadmi Party is repeatedly saying that we are a natural successor to the Congress. We are a natural alternative to the Congress. So I think now whether the Congress changes or not changes, as an independent observer, I feel that people have already started looking at you know, other parties beyond the Congress after this loss in Punjab and the fact that they've lost. It has a very big effect on the Congress party. Whether they want to change or not, that's their internal matter. I got a few calls from Maharashtra, for example, and they said that, you know, we want to know more about Aam Aadmi Party. What is this party really about? You live in Delhi, so let us know. So people also who are in that on that side of the spectrum, not the BJP or the Sena types, the people who are basically Congress voters. Even they want to now look at parties that can represent them and can fight on their behalf. Like I said,
right.
So whether Congress changes or not, now that's an internal problem. I think the real crisis is that people have started looking beyond Congress party.
Exactly. Well, that's what for the Congress has to realize. Let me go across to Sanket Upadhyay, who is joining us from Lucknow, and Sanket has travelled. What is it now, Sanket? 7,600 kilometers throughout UP, covering the election there. And of course, UP is the biggest story. Unfortunately, we've lost the line in Sanket. So let me ask Alok ji here from the BJP in the studio with us about the impact of the UP result. So Alok ji, you have a photo of the Prime Minister on your jacket also, yes. Which is really loyalty to the next level. But what does this do within the BJP? Is Yogi Adityanath, according to you, as a leader of the party, is he now the natural successor to Mr. Modi whenever he opts out of politics?
We are nobody to decide that and give an indication on that. You see, it is a party who decides who is going to be the next captain of the central team. There is a long wait about it. 2024 we'll definitely fight under Narendra Modi ji, and thereafter we'll see. We have a plethora of leaders across the country.
Good diplomatic.
Yes, he's one of the strong contenders.
Certainly.
According to the Janta's voice.
The way it's voted.
The way it's voted.
All right, let's go across to Sanket. Finally, we do have the line with him. Sanket, what's the action there?
That's right. Right behind me is the Vidhan Sabha, and just a few meters away is the BJP headquarters in Uttar Pradesh. which we cannot show you as of this moment because of a massive gathering of people, and also you know, it becomes very difficult to communicate also, because of which we could not have this connection in the line earlier. So the BJP is obviously very excited and happy about their performance. Celebrations have broken out. In fact, there were joyrides on a crane, or a JCB crane, which I don't know, for some reason is being called a bulldozer. But it has become synonymous to Yogi Adityanath and his leadership as far as the BJP is concerned. All through his rallies in phase number 5, 6, 7, we saw that in many of these rallies you saw these cranes put up to show that you know, Yogi Adityanath is going to bulldoze the houses of or the properties of all those who are miscreants, who create problems in the state. Today also, in this celebration, that bulldozer or that crane is being used as a political message or a political tool to show that the political opponents have been bulldozed by Yogi Adityanath and by the Bharatiya Janata Party. We are expecting senior leaders of the BJP to come to the BJP headquarters in just a short moment. We're also expecting the Prime Minister to address the nation, to address BJP workers at the BJP party headquarters in New Delhi. We'll get you all the buzz and all the action from Lucknow and Delhi after a short break. All right, welcome back now for an NDTV and a coup presentation. All the leaders who are cooing on the coup app, let's get their comments. First of all, Bhagwant Mann, who's now tipped to be the Chief Minister of Punjab, given the spectacular performance of the Aam Aadmi Party. He has cooed and he says, prostrated at Gurdwara Shri Mastuana Sahib, prayed for the golden future of Punjab and the welfare of all. Harpal Singh Cheema says, given the initial trend in Punjab, it is certain that the Aam Aadmi government will be formed in Punjab. So that is a big and a dramatic win for the Aam Aadmi Party. Remember, they were very hopeful in 2017 as well, however could not manage to get the numbers. This time around, winning with full force. But let's shift focus quickly back to Uttar Pradesh, where I'm standing right now. Lots of action taking place, lots of celebrations going on at the BJP headquarters. Here is a report by my colleague Alok Pandey, who caught up with baby Adityanath.
It's a day of celebration at the BJP office here in Lucknow, and perhaps the color that you see on an election day is something that you won't on another day. Now, of all things that you can see, you have a young kid dressed as the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister, as Yogi Adityanath. In fact, I saw that at his back there's also a poster, if we can just, or a banner or something, it says Jai Shri Ram. मैं योगी मोदी जी आपको यूपी की जीत की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। आप इनको वापस इधर कर दीजिए। क्या नाम है इनका?
निव्या।
कितने साल के हैं?
1.5 साल के। हाँ? 1.5 साल के।
1.5 साल के हैं। ये बुलडोजर इनको दिलाने का आइडिया किसका था? आपका?
डैडी का था मेरे।
ये आपके पिताजी हैं? अच्छा, क्या नाम है आपका?
मेरा नाम रवि चौधरी है।
रवीन जी, छोटे से बच्चे को लाए हैं, बुलडोजर भी दे के लाए हैं, क्या आइडिया?
आइडिया ये है कि मैं योगी के काम से बहुत, मेरा पूरा परिवार बहुत संतुष्ट है। आज हम लोग जो चल रहे हैं, ये योगी जी की देन है। डर भय के मुक्त होकर आज हमारे बच्चियां बाहर निकल रही हैं, ये योगी जी की देन है। और योगी जी के काम से बहुत संतुष्ट हैं, और इसीलिए मेरा पूरा परिवार योगी जी से समर्थक में मिलकर मेरा इस पूरी ड्रेस को मेरे पूरे परिवार ने मिलकर इसको रचाया है।
थोड़ी देर बाद तो मुझे लगता है लेके जाना पड़ेगा, रोने लगेगा बाद में आपको।
ये बहुत हिम्मती है, ये बहुत हिम्मती है, रोएगा नहीं। ये बिल्कुल बुलडोजर की तरीके मजबूत बना रहेगा। ये जो छोटे योगी है, ये उसकी देन है।
मैम, आपके लिए बीजेपी के कैंपेन में सबसे बड़ा मुद्दा क्या था जिसकी वजह से आपको लगता है जीत हुई है?
महिला सुरक्षा।
महिला सुरक्षा, और वो उन्होंने हम लोग के लिए बहुत कुछ किया। उन्होंने हम लोग को राशन वासन सब कुछ दिलवाया, इस वजह से वो है। और सबसे बड़ी बात तो महिला सुरक्षा कि वो। जी
चलिए ठीक है। पहले कभी भी ये योगी आदित्यनाथ बने हैं कि पहली बार बने हैं?
ये पहली बार बने।
पहली बार बने,
मगर एक इनसे बड़ी बहन है, वो बन चुकी है।
अच्छा
जी, पहले भी वो बन चुकी है, उन्हें डैडी ने बनवाया।
So there you have it, like I said, unique shots here at the BJP office in Lucknow.
So, as a general principle, I think what politicians and their supporters must do is keep children out of any form of affection. whether it is getting a kid dressed up as Bhagwant Mann or Arvind Kejriwal, or for that matter Yogi Adityanath. Kids don't deserve this. However, if it's a fancy dress competition, one can understand, but this is no fancy dress competition. Anyway, moving on, just a short while ago, right on this road, which is right outside Vidhan Sabha and the BJP headquarters, on this road we saw something very fascinating, which has now become a prop which the Bharatiya Janata Party has decided to use to send out a political message. What the BJP supporters call is a bulldozer. Actually, it's a JCB crane, but the BJP workers and supporters in rally after rally of Yogi Adityanath call it a bulldozer. So what is a bulldozer doing in a Yogi Adityanath event or at the Bharatiya Janata Party headquarters? Well, it is to reiterate and exert the image of Yogi Adityanath as a bulldozer wale Baba. That here is a chief minister who is going to raise all houses and properties of people who he thinks are criminals. That's a message that the BJP wants to send out. Let's watch this report.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी उत्तर प्रदेश में जीत का जश्न मना रही है और जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं ये जुलूस निकल रहा है। ये योगी आदित्यनाथ के समर्थक हैं जो डीजे पार्टी निकालना आप शुरू कर रहे हैं। और अगर आप देखें कि जिस तरीके से पहले बात हो रही थी, योगी आदित्यनाथ को बुलडोजर वाले बाबा कहा जा रहा था, तो हमारे वीडियो जर्नलिस्ट विनीत आपको दिखाएंगे पीछे एक बुलडोजर भी है। ये देखिए बुलडोजर में लोग बैठे हैं और ये जो रैली निकल रही है ये बुलडोजर पे बैठ करके निकल रही है जिसमें लोग चढ़े हुए हैं। इस पूरे कैंपेन में रैलियों में कई जगह हमने देखा था, अलग अलग जगहों पर बुलडोजर लोग ले करके आए थे। तो ये जीत का जश्न मन रहा है क्योंकि अब बीजेपी अपने विधायक लेकर के यहाँ पर जाएगी। वीडियो जर्नलिस्ट विनीत के साथ संकेत उपाध्याय, NDTV।
So Holi may be celebrated according to the calendar on the 17th and the 18th, but at the BJP headquarters, Holi has come in a little early. I can hear from the background Holi songs playing out and people using Abir and Gulal, of course in the color of the Bharatiya Janata Party, celebrating this festival a little early. Because for them, today also marks a Holi-like occasion. All right, just a short while ago, I also spoke to the Law Minister in Yogi Adityanath's government on what he thinks worked for the Bharatiya Janata Party and what did not work for the Samajwadi Party. Here's an interview with Brijesh Pathak.
हमारे साथ हैं ब्रिजेश पाठक जी, आपसे बात करने की कोशिश करते हैं। ब्रिजेश जी, कैसा माहौल है?
बहुत अच्छा माहौल है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी की प्रचंड बहुमत की सरकार बन रही है। चुनाव प्रचार के दौरान मैंने इस बात की जानकारी आप लोगों को दी थी कि प्रदेश के लोग आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की जो गरीब कल्याण की योजनाएं हैं, जो आम आदमी तक पहुंची हैं, जैसे पक्का मकान सबको मिला है, शौचालय सबके घर में बना है, निःशुल्क बिजली का कनेक्शन मिला है, गैस का कनेक्शन मिला है, 5 लाख तक का इलाज। पहले सबसे पहले बहनों के गहने बिकते थे। कोई अगर किडनी फेल हो जाए, हार्ट अटैक हो जाए, ये ब्रेन हेमरेज हो जाए तो गहने बिकते थे, खेती बिकती थी, कर्जा लग जाता था। 5 लाख तक का निःशुल्क इलाज आयुष्मान कार्ड के माध्यम से। सबसे बड़ी बात है महीने में 2 बार राशन प्रति यूनिट 5 किलो। जो भोजन की चिंता खत्म हो गई, सुरक्षा लॉ एंड ऑर्डर हमने मेंटेन किया। तो प्रदेश के लोगों को महसूस हुआ कि माननीय मोदी जी ही हमें एक ऐसी सरकार दे सकते हैं जो हमारे जीवन में बदलाव ला सकते हैं। गरीब अमीर आदमी दोनों खाई मिट्टी है। अगर अमीर आदमी 2 रोटी खा रहा तो गरीब आदमी को रोटी की चिंता उत्तर प्रदेश में नहीं है। हमने उसको इतना पर्याप्त भोजन उपलब्ध करा दिया है कि लोग महसूस किए कि उनकी अपनी सरकार है जो उनके जीवन में बदलाव लाना चाहती है। दुख में खड़ी होती। कोरोना काल आया, कई राष्ट्राध्यक्ष परेशान दिखे, लेकिन मोदी जी ने क्या किया? पूरे यूपी को कंट्रोल किया, योगी जी ने कंट्रोल किया। हमने उनको दवाइयाँ भी दी और डबल वैक्सीनेट। आज यूपी में कहीं कोई कोरोना का खतरा नहीं है। प्रत्येक नागरिक को डबल वैक्सीन लग चुकी है और नौजवानों को, बच्चों को, 18 साल वालों को भी हम वैक्सीन लगा रहे हैं। तो लोगों ने महसूस किया कि यूपी बीजेपी के हाथों में सुरक्षित है और सब लोगों ने जाति, धर्म, संप्रदाय, पार्टी लाइन को तोड़ करके कमल के बटन को दबा दिया। और मैं बार बार कहता था प्रचंड बहुमत, लोग मानने को तैयार नहीं थे। एक ऐसा मतदाता वर्ग तैयार हो गया है जो देश के प्रति, समाज के प्रति और प्रदेश को आगे बढ़ते देखना चाहता है। और समझ
आपको लगता नहीं है कि ठीक है, देखिए जीत होती है और प्रचंड बहुमत वाकई है जिस तरीके से रुझान आ रहे हैं, लेकिन समाजवादी पार्टी के भी सीट शेयर, वोट वो बढ़ता हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है। तो आप ये मानेंगे कि एक रोष था जो कि वहां पर भी दिखाई दे रहा है?
बता, रोष नहीं था। मैं इसका जवाब मैंने अभी आपके जो इंग्लिश मीडियम का चैनल है उस पर मैंने दिया है। देखिए, समाजवादी पार्टी एक प्लेटफार्म बन गया, भारतीय जनता पार्टी की विरोध का धुरी बन गई। तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की नीतियों से खिलाफत वाले लोग नहीं इकट्ठा हुए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के खिलाफ वो लोग इकट्ठा हुए जो सत्ता पाने के लिए आपस में बंटवारा कर रहे थे कुर्सियों का। कोई मंत्रालय बांट रहा था, कोई डिप्टी सीएम बन रहा था, कोई कह रहा था कि हम ये खनन का पट्टा लेंगे, कोई कहता था कि हम इतना पैसा लेंगे, कोई कहता था कि हम इतना मकान लेंगे। तो प्रदेश के लोगों ने उन्हें नकार दिया। जो सत्ता में बंटवारा हो रहा था, जो विभिन्न लोग इकट्ठा होकर के सत्ता को लूटना चाहते थे, गरीब आदमी के हक को लूटना चाहते थे, प्रदेश के लोगों को महसूस हुआ।
All right, let's also play out this conversation that we had earlier with BJP MP from Mathura, Hema Malini. Interesting thing that she said and spoke about in the context of this victory. Listen in.
Any memorable lines from your movie which you used to once in a while say to everybody, because you have so many famous lines?
There's only Basanti ka dialogue bolna padta hai. Whether I like it or not, because just to please the people, you know, they feel very happy. The moment I say Basanti, the name only, they get very excited. There's a lot of sound and, you know, happiness I can see in the face of the public. So why not I please them by saying one line, Chal Dhannu aaj बसंती की इज्जत का सवाल है, तो खुश हो जाते हैं। क्या बात है। That transforms into what also, definitely. My fans, my people are the people who love me. They will definitely vote for that.
Excellent.
It shows you how Sholay, after what, almost 5 decades, it's still something that people remember.
All right, that's a wrap in this segment in collaboration with Coup. Keep watching. Our programs continue after a short break. Non-stop coverage of counting day. Very decisive mandate in all the elections.
All right, some problem there with Sanket's audio. We do apologize for that. We are covering counting day for you, as you can clearly see. The picture is now clear. It's 4 out of 5 for the BJP with a tremendous victory in Uttar Pradesh, where the party has come back to power with a landslide win. This is the first time in more than 3 decades that an incumbent government has come back to power in UP. And the Samajwadi Party, though it has had its best performance as far as vote share is concerned, simply could not match the power of the BJP, which has come back with close to 270 seats at 267 right now. It has lost a number of seats, around 55 at the moment, but that's still a more than comfortable majority for the party in India's largest state. The other big state, of course, Punjab, where it's been a sweeping win for the Aam Aadmi Party. We've been talking about that. For Arvind Kejriwal, nearly 90 seats for the AAP in Punjab. And in Uttarakhand and Goa as well, the BJP is all set to form governments there, despite some speculation of a tight contest. In Manipur also, it has emerged as the single largest party. We have Mr. Alok Vats of the BJP in the studio with us. Also with us, a senior journalist and commentator Ajoy Bose, Daniel Francis, who's also a political watcher and commentator, and Mr. Bablu Loitongbam from Manipur also joining us very shortly. Let me first, get a reaction from you, Ajoy Bose, on the import of this UP win and Arvind Kejriwal's victory in Punjab, as well as the 2 seats in Goa. How do you see the opposition space now changing in the run-up to 2024? Clearly, the Congress would have to, play a very secondary role.
I mean, the Congress is almost finished. It takes a long time for an elephant to dive. This is something we've been speculating and predicting over decades, really, that the Congress has been fading. and a couple of false things which we thought that the Congress could revive itself. But there is no question today the Congress cannot claim any leadership of the opposition ever again after these elections. Now, what happens to the opposition? Now, I wouldn't say that the opposition is finished, because we have seen that Indian politics is still very open situation. It's still very fluid. After all, many new parties, relatively new parties, are doing well. I mean, people forget that the Trinamool Congress is a fairly recent phenomenon, and it has had fantastic victories in Bengal over the years. The AAP is yet another party which has astounded people with just simply the scale of their victories. I mean, the AAP, when it wins really big. And this is a stupendous victory. Now, does this translate into a national kind of thing? Now, more and more, we are going back to the old days when I started covering journalism, when Indira Gandhi and the Congress was the behemoth. Now, the BJP is certainly not as strong as what the Congress was at that time. But there is no question the BJP is the gorilla in the room, or it's a bit like the old historical Delhi Sultanate. And you have all these chieftains, holding their sort of own in different states. Now we have to see, because, I wouldn't sort of, in UP, Akhilesh has done rather well. He has lost, of course, and I think it was too much for him to match the might of the BJP. But we can't write him off. He's a young man and he can grow. But clearly, we are looking at a situation where the Congress has a very, very limited role to play. And even in states like Chhattisgarh maybe, or maybe another, the less and less states, the Congress will have to act like a regional party rather than really a national party. So you have
what does it mean though with just to get Daniel Francis in here, when you have another face, another hat that's thrown into the ring of the opposition, right now with Arvind Kejriwal becoming a serious contender, Mamata Banerjee is already there, KCR is there, he speaks Hindi, he's been sort of leading a campaign to form an alternative front to the Congress. So Daniel Francis, what happens when you have so many hats in the ring? Does it complicate the opposition fight? Daniel, I think you've got your mic on mute. Sorry, the parents of Zoom.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I think it definitely complicates the opposition fight, because now we do not have a single party in the opposition space that has the kind of strength to take the other parties along. And if you see the top three parties in the opposition space, that is Trinamool, AAP and Congress, they are also competing with each other. They are not going to ever come together. And I don't see Trinamool, Congress or AAP, crossing the 100 mark in 2024. So it's a clear advantage BJP in the presidential elections that are upcoming, as well as the 2024 elections, because of the shrinking of the Congress. And the expansion of the Aam Aadmi Party will take some time. It will take some time. It is not going to happen overnight. It will take a few years for it to happen. Their strategy is very clear. They are going to go into spaces where Congress is dying and take those spaces. But that journey is a little will not be completed so soon. Right. The opposition space is now very, very fragmented, and that because most of these parties will have their regional aspirations and the negotiation with the center. Their politics is very different, and Congress is failing to do national politics in an effective way. And basically, Aam Aadmi Party and Trinamool Congress are still regional entities to negotiate with the BJP at a national level.
Right. So let me just also read out Rahul Gandhi's tweet that's on our screens. He's just tweeted saying that he humbly accepts the verdict of the people and says that we will learn from this and keep working for the interests of the people of India.
This is what he said in 2015.
And he's repeated that.
If you remember, in 2015 he said, I will learn from Aam Aadmi Party when they had a victory in Delhi, that I will learn from Aam Aadmi Party, and I will make my organization an organization that you cannot imagine. 2015, yes. We're in 2022.
Well, now he's the sort of unspoken leader of the party without actually being the leader of the party. So that's among the problems the Congress confronts. But Alok ji of the BJP is here with us. Is that an advantage for all of you and for the BJP also in the run-up to 2024? That when you present an option to the people, you clearly have Mr. Modi on one side, and from the opposition, you have possibly 5-6 leaders. You know, people will say कि इनके लोग हैं, they are not clear on who their leader is.
Nidhi, tell me one thing. Who would not be happy with such an opposition? There is hardly any opposition. There is no opposition. And with these 5-6 leaders... It
is there in a lot of states.
States? Like I'm talking at the national level.
Yeah.
But these 5-6 leaders you have just named, you know, from Telangana, Mamata Banerjee and AAP, and some other leaders also there, Sharad Pawar, and so to say Shiv Sena. Do you remember 1977 Janata Party? All these people united and defeated Congress. There was clean sweep in many states. 100% votes, seats won in UP and Bihar and some other states. And that government didn't last more than 2.5 years. आपस में इतनी खींचतान हो गई, you know, कि they all started fighting with each other. So people remember all those things. Who will lead them? The first question is, now with Punjab win, Kejriwal's aspirations is rocket high. Should be also. If I was also in his place, maybe aisa sochta. But who's going to lead them? You need a disciplined cadre, a disciplined party, a disciplined people to lead as opposition, which is not there in sight. And that is...
So you clearly, obviously, and probably
that is a cakewalk for Mr. Modi.
Okay, yes.
And besides that, our work is there. Right. We have done a lot of work which has directly benefited the people. लोगों को राहत चाहिए, लोगों को भयमुक्त समाज चाहिए. All that has been provided by us.
Indeed, that's what's being said in UP as well. It's a combination of the welfare schemes that have worked along with the Hindutva campaign.
We have got unlimited votes from the women who are Muslims. Silently they have voted.
How do you know?
I have a lot of friends whose wife confided in me.
Acha. Okay. All right. That's an interesting conversation to take forward a little later.
Can you imagine? Okay.
Okay.
For years it was like that.
Okay. All right. I have to take a break. These amazing TV moments, one does, you know, have to get into an ad break. Thank you very much, Alok ji, Ajoy and Daniel. We'll be back with you a little later as well. We take a break, much more on the color of these elections in just a moment. Good afternoon. You're watching our counting day coverage. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Let's take a look at the latest leads from 5 states. It's pretty much clear which way this election is headed. It's a big win for the BJP in Uttar Pradesh, coming back to power in India's largest state. After a gap of over 30 years, we're seeing an incumbent government coming back to power in UP. Yes, the BJP has lost seats in UP, but the victory margin is more than comfortable for them as far as the number of seats are concerned. The principal challenger was the Samajwadi Party, which got its highest vote share, but couldn't quite catch up in terms of the number of seats. There is a Congress party briefing that has just started here in Delhi. Let's listen into what they have to say after a really bad day as far as these elections are concerned.
पार्टी श्री भगवंत मान श्री अरविंद केजरीवाल को मुबारकबाद देते हैं। उत्तर प्रदेश में हम कांग्रेस पार्टी को जमीनी स्तर पर पुनर्जीवित करने में तो सफल रहे, पर हम उस जनमत को सीटों में नहीं बदल पाए। लेकिन कांग्रेस पार्टी उत्तर प्रदेश की हर विधानसभा में गली कूचे तक पहुंच पाई। हम उत्तराखंड और गोवा में बेहतर चुनाव तो लड़े, पर जनता का मन नहीं जीत पाए, विजय के आंकड़े तक नहीं पहुंच पाए। हमारे लिए एक सीख है कि हमें धरातल पर और अधिक मेहनत करने की आवश्यकता है। हमने इस चुनाव को जातिवाद और धार्मिक ध्रुवीकरण के मुद्दों से दूर रख जनता के मुद्दों पर वापस लाने का सतत प्रयास किया। वो चाहे बेरोजगारी हो, वो चाहे महंगाई हो, चाहे वो डूबती अर्थव्यवस्था हो, चाहे वो जनता के समक्ष रोजमर्रा का संकट हो, चाहे वो शिक्षा हो, चाहे वो स्वास्थ्य हो, चाहे वो ढांचागत विकास हो। परंतु यह भी सच है कि भावनात्मक मुद्दे जनता की जिंदगी से जुड़े इन मुद्दों पर कहीं ना कहीं हावी हो गए। हम चुनाव हारे या जीतें, लेकिन भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस देश की जनता के साथ लगातार खड़ी है। हम जनता के मुद्दों को, महंगाई को, बेरोजगारी को, अर्थव्यवस्था को, शिक्षा को, स्वास्थ्य को, ढांचागत विकास को, इन सब मुद्दों को जिम्मेवारी के साथ उठाते रहेंगे। हम हार के कारणों पर गहन दृष्टि से आत्म मंथन और आत्म चिंतन दोनों करेंगे, संगठन पर काम करेंगे और भविष्य में और बेहतर प्रयास करेंगे। कांग्रेस अध्यक्षा श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी जी ने यह भी निर्णय लिया है कि वो बहुत जल्द कांग्रेस कार्य समिति की बैठक बुलाकर इन सारे हार के कारणों और 5 राज्यों के चुनाव पर एक व्यापक अंतर्मंथन कांग्रेस कार्य समिति करेगी। हम चुनाव परिणामों से निराश जरूर हैं, पर हताश नहीं। हम चुनाव हारे हैं, पर हिम्मत नहीं हारे। हम कहीं नहीं जा रहे। हम लड़ते रहेंगे जब तक जीत हासिल ना हो जाए, और वो जीत जनता की जीत हो। हम लौटेंगे नए बदलाव के साथ, नई रणनीति के साथ। सभी विजेताओं को एक बार फिर दिल से बहुत बहुत हार्दिक बधाई और 5 राज्यों की जनता को एक उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए बेहतर शुभकामनाएं। I'll say it very, very briefly in English and then I'll take your questions. I take this opportunity to extend our felicitations to all the political parties and individuals who have achieved success in the elections to the 5 election-going states. In democracy, the decision of people is the ultimate evolution or evocation of their will, and we completely bow.
All right, Randeep Singh Surjewala, head of the Congress's media cell, speaking to reporters there, saying that it's a learning for the party, that they have to work harder, they'll always raise people's issues, etc. But very, very difficult days clearly ahead for the Congress as it tries to figure out what it's going to do with its internal problems, with more and more leaders who've quit the party. The big story, Punjab as well. We were talking about UP just before that, but look at that AAP sweep in Punjab. Arvind Kejriwal spoke to the media just a little while earlier, to his party workers, saying that everyone conspired against the Aam Aadmi Party, that he was called a terrorist, but that he has been vindicated and proven to be the biggest Desh Bhakt, the biggest patriot in this country, and that the Punjab decision is a revolution. Let's listen in.
आज जो पंजाब के नतीजे आए हैं, ये एक बहुत बड़ा इनकलाब है। पंजाब के नतीजे बहुत बड़ा इनकलाब है। बड़ी बड़ी कुर्सियां हिल गई हैं आज पंजाब के अंदर। आपको पता है नवजोत सिंह सिद्धू को किसने हराया है? हमारी एक महिला वॉलंटियर है, आम महिला है, आम वॉलंटियर है, जीवनजोत कौर। उन्होंने मजीठिया को भी हरा दिया और उन्होंने सिद्धू को भी हरा दिया। तो दोस्तों, आम आदमी में बड़ी ताकत है। मैं बार बार कहता हूं, इस आम आदमी को चुनौती मत दो। ये जिस दिन खड़ा हो गया, बड़े बड़े इंकलाब आ जाएंगे, बड़ी बड़ी कुर्सियां हिल जाएंगे।
सफल रहे। हमें पूरा विश्वास था कि लोग परिवर्तन के लिए वोट करेंगे। कहाँ क्या कमी हमारे प्रयासों में रह गई, मैं उसको कहीं न कहीं कुछ कमी रह गई उसको मैं स्वीकार करता हूँ। और कैंपेन कमेटी के चेयरमैन के तौर पर, क्योंकि मेरी अगुवाई में चुनाव लड़ा गया, तो मैं जो हार हुई है उसकी पूरी जिम्मेदारी लेता हूँ। और हमारे लोगों ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, कांग्रेसजनों ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, और जो हमारी पार्टी का नेतृत्व है जिसमें प्रदेश कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष भी हैं, सीएलपी लीडर हैं, उनके सहयोगी हैं, उन सब ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया। मैं उन सबको बहुत बधाई देता हूँ। प्रभारी सहित जितने हमारे AICC के लोग यहाँ आए जिन्होंने इस कैंपेन में हमारी सहायता की, उनको भी मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ। और पूरी राजनीतिक प्रक्रिया में जो लोग सम्मिलित थे मैं उन सबको भी धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। और कुल मिलाकर के उत्तराखंड के लोगों को उन्होंने 2022-27 के लिए उनको मैंडेट दिया है। मैं उम्मीद करता हूँ कि ये मैंडेट जो है पहले से बेहतर साबित हो, क्योंकि पहला मेरा मानना है कि 2017 से जो 22 तक की सरकार रही वो बिल्कुल निखट्टू सरकार रही। अब कैसे भाजपा फिर से विश्वास जीतने में सफल रही ये तो मैं नहीं जानता, लेकिन मैं इतना जरूर जानता हूं कि लोगों में गुस्सा था और उसकी परिणति साफ तौर पर दिखाई देती है। जो इनकम्बेंट मुख्यमंत्री है उनके खिलाफ लोगों ने निर्णय दिया है।
ठीक है सिद्धार्थ, एक सवाल मैं अपना ले लूंगा। एक सवाल ले लूंगा सर।
अब जो कहना है अब एक एक करके कहना।
सर क्या लग रहा है आपको कि चूक कहाँ हो गई? क्योंकि आप जब कह रहे हैं कि परिवर्तन होना था, मुख्यमंत्री खुद हार गए, लग रहा है कि लोग परिवर्तन चाहते हैं, लेकिन आपकी मैनेजमेंट में चूक रही है।
मैंने कहा कि कहीं न कहीं हमारे जो कैंपेन स्ट्रेटेजी थी या जो कैंपेन करना था जिससे कहीं न कहीं कुछ चूक रह गई, और उस चूक को मैंने स्वीकार किया है। कैंपेन कमेटी के चेयरमैन के तौर पर मैंने कहा कि मैं उसका पूरा उत्तरदायित्व लेता हूं, और लोगों ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया। मैं सबको बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। सबका बड़ा सहयोग मिला और एक बड़ा उत्साहपूर्ण वातावरण में कांग्रेस ने चुनाव लड़ा।
सर आपको लगता है कि आप चुनाव खुद न लड़कर चुनाव लड़वाते तो एक ज्यादा अच्छा रहता?
अब इफ एंड बट का कुछ वो नहीं है। जो सत्य है, जो सामने दिखाई दे रहा है, वो ये है कि मैं चुनाव लड़ा और मैं लालकुआ के लोगों का विश्वास नहीं जीत पाया, मैं पराजित हुआ। मैं लालकुआ के लोगों को बहुत अल्पकाल में उन्होंने इतना स्नेह दिया, उसके लिए बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ।
आपकी पुत्री जो है वो चुनाव जीती हैं, उसको किस तरीके से देखते हैं उस सीट को?
मैं अपनी पुत्री सहित कांग्रेस के सभी विधायकगणों को जो
Well, Harish Rawat is one of the big losers today from Uttarakhand, the former chief minister losing his seat there on what has been a very bad day for the Congress overall. But Uttarakhand is somewhere where they would be particularly disappointed that they weren't able to change the results simply because the BJP has faced anti-incumbency there. It has changed 2 chief ministers in the span of a year. And yet the Congress has its own set of problems in fighting. What a surprise. All of that playing, into the hands of yet another BJP win in the state. Let's cross back to Punjab, though, where also Bhagwant Mann, the future Chief Minister of Punjab, held a sort of a victory of sorts, victory rally of sorts a little while earlier. This is what he said.
Joining me right now is Babar, senior BJP leader. Sir, a meeting went over here. Tomorrow the results are going to happen. What was discussed in the meeting? How confident is BJP?
No, BJP is very confident. We are 100% confident that we are going to form a government on our own. Now, as far as the meeting is concerned, the meeting was called to tell all the candidates that after the results, that everyone should come to the BJP headquarters at 4 o'clock.
Okay. At the same time, Congress have kept all their candidates in a hostel. At the same time, they are very confident that they'll be forming the government. They'll say that they won't repeat what happened in 2017. So are there discussions being done with independent or other candidates?
This is the first time in the full country I am seeing that before election some party is keeping their candidates hold up. I don't see what is the logic into this.
Are you also in touch with candidates, independent candidates, just in case if there is a hung assembly?
We are very confident that we will form a government on our own.
As you can see that the CM security clearly has been increased here, because just over the last couple of hours, you can see the number of people really trying to catch a glimpse of Mr. Mann over there, and he is now being accompanied by his security guards, by his security, everybody really trying to get a glimpse of Mr. Mann. This is Mr. Bhagwant Mann post his victory speech which he made a short while ago. The people here are excited. The people here are extremely excited to just get a glimpse of Mr. Mann. But as you can see, post his victory speech, he is now taking a rally, taking out a rally kind of a meeting. He's just traveling through the roads of this Sangrur area. Mr. Bhagwant Mann, the next Chief Minister of Punjab, ready, set and go to ensure to fulfill the dreams of the people of Punjab. With Ashwini Mehra, Shanakshi Chakravarti for NDTV.
And let's go across live to my colleague Rishika Barua in Goa. Rishika, again a state where they were expecting it to be a close contest. The Congress was busy protecting its MLAs already, even before the results, but they don't have to do that anymore.
Well, absolutely. The Congress had its MLA candidates huddled, in a resort in North Goa. The Aam Aadmi Party had all of its MLA candidates huddled until, late this afternoon when we were trying to get in touch with them to sort of, meet the two, the winners. They said that, okay, we are still at that undisclosed location and we are going to be heading to Punjab. So it was believed to be a very, very close contest between the Congress and the BJP. And like we've been saying, Nidhi, Goa is an extremely hard election to predict, no matter how much time you've spent on the ground, because the margins for victory are very, very small. We just spoke exclusively to Dr. Pramod Sawant, the Chief Minister of Goa. And, he was holding his breath at the counting centre. We met him several times because it was a very, very close contest between him and the Congress candidate. He's finally won by around 700 votes. So, that's as far as, Goa politics is concerned. But we're at the BJP headquarters. There was an important meeting that was held here just a short while ago. Devendra Fadnavis was here. The Chief Minister was here. There were some senior leaders of the party who were here. The BJP is going to be holding a press conference, we are told, anytime after 5 p.m. After which we understand that they will probably be heading to the Raj Bhavan to stake claim to form the next government. Soon after the trends became clear, the BJP Chief Minister Pramod Sawant, along with the BJP President, came here to the BJP office and made an announcement that they have enlisted the support of 3 independent MLAs and they will stake claim to form the next government. I want to just point out here, though, Goa politics is extremely interesting. One of the independents who supported the BJP, Alex Reginaldo, is actually a congressman. He left the Congress, he joined the TMC, he then left the TMC and the Congress refused to take him back, and now he's extended support to the BJP. So that's just how it works here in Goa. But, what was predicted to be murky power games, a battle that could continue way beyond the election result, one is hoping that there's going to be none of that with a pretty decisive verdict in favor of the BJP. There's also been a bit of, conversation and speculation about who the Chief Minister is going to be. We're now learning that, the BJP has once again thrown its weight behind Dr. Pramod Sawant. He seems extremely confident. But we spoke earlier to to Vishwajit Rane, the Health Minister of Goa, and he was extremely emotional, and he had a whole host of supporters around him, who were chanting that he should become the next Chief Minister.
All right, well, joining us on NDTV, man of the moment, Vishwajit Rane. It's a spectacular win for you.
Thank you so much. This is the credit to the country's Prime Minister and for all that he has done for the state of Goa. And it's unbelievable faith my people have put in me, and this victory is of the people and the leadership of the Bharatiya Janata Party, that is our country's Prime Minister. That's why we have been sweeping, and also all these guys who came into the state with all tales, and especially the Congress party and other parties who have only fooled the people in the past. Actual work, road infrastructure, road network, women empowerment, employment was generated by our government.
You're very emotional today.
I'm emotional because the 4th is my 7th election, and people have reposed faith in me once again, and I give total, this is only credited to my leader, national leaders, my Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, Amit Shah ji, my Goa in charge, Devendra Fadnavis ji, JP Nadda ji, our party president in Goa, Shri Sadanand Tanawade, and all of us as a team, we have worked hard to see that BJP comes to where it is today.
What's it going to be like by the end of the day today?
I think BJP will form the government. But we should, I told you yesterday only that BJP is inching towards a majority. BJP will form the government.
And who is going to support you?
No, I mean, the party leadership will decide. The leaders are all here. They will decide. C.T. Raviji is here.
Are you in touch with any of the regional leaders, MGP?
Our leaders are in touch. Our leaders are in touch. Our leaders are in touch.
You've got very emotional. Your wife this was her first election.
I have not seen overall what is going on in that constituency because I was so focused because, you know, from this election, you found some trends which are emerging. And these are trends to be learnt. We cannot, though you get the numbers, you cannot become complacent because those trends are not good trends. I've seen some trends which are, even in my constituency, which have come up in spite of doing a lot of work. So one has to start working from day one from tomorrow. So this election is in a learning.
You credit everything to the national leadership of the BJP. You also have a family legacy. Your father, is a legend as far as Goa politics is concerned.
I've learned all the politics and everything what needs to be done for the people is from my father. So basically, he has been a father figure and a teacher, and I've learned everything from him: how to serve the people, how to eliminate poverty and the problems of the people. And I've always lived with the people. I believe in simplicity. I believe in commitments. I believe in seeing that we empower the people and not fool around with the mandate that you get.
Your supporters have been chanting "Baba tum CM bano."
No, my supporters, everybody, they have their own aspirations. They would like to see their leader grow, but my leadership is the one that takes decisions of what they want to do in the state of Goa.
Am I speaking with the next CM candidate?
No, I mean, it's too premature to even go in that direction because the party leadership decides all these things. I am not authorized to say anything. I want to work for the party, strengthen the party, and I'm a disciplined soldier of the BJP. Whatever party decides is fine with me.
Thank you very much, Vishwajit Rane, for speaking with NDTV. So as you can see, we are inside his vehicle right now, and if my camera person can just pan and show you, there has been a line of supporters, kilometers long line of supporters, people just waiting to congratulate him, get a glimpse, interact with him, shake his hand. He periodically keeps, getting out of the car, and this is what it's like. And it's been like this for several kilometers, right outside the polling station here in North Goa. With the camera person Sanjay Mandal, Rishika Barua for NDTV.
Right, well, let's go straight across to our panel. Journalist Shivam Vij here in the studio with us. He's actually travelled to quite a few of the states that campaigned this time and correctly predicted what the outcome would be. That's rare these days, Shivam. Ranbir Singh Pathane from the BJP joining us, Aishwarya Mahadev from the Congress, and Abhishek Sudhir, the brave Samajwadi Party supporter who is coming on television today. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us. Let me actually ask Shivam Vij first. None of these results today came as a surprise to you. It's interesting though how there were some people who kind of stuck their neck outs to say that A, hung assembly hogi Punjab mein, B, Akhilesh's rallies have been really well attended, and it kind of gives you a sense of deja vu because that's happened during Tejasvi's rallies in Bihar also, right? So how do people get it so off,
Well, in the case of Punjab, people got it off because they were thinking last time. Last time in 2017, Aam Aadmi Party was supposed to win but lost at the last moment. The same thing will be repeated this time. In fact, there were rumors that it has been repeated this time. In the last 2 days, last 48 hours, polling day, Aam Aadmi Party did not do well. Their desks were empty and so on. But,
can you please increase the volume?
You could just fly over Punjab and smell the wave, right? I wrote as much as a wave in Punjab for the Aam Aadmi Party up till the last day. In UP, the Samajwadi Party, the core voter base of Yadavs and Muslims, is really not difficult to have large crowds in rallies. If rally crowds told you who's winning, then I think Owaisi should have been the chief minister because his rally crowds are also huge and enthusiastic and so on, right? But even those rally crowds, they were building a perception of Samajwadi Party's strength. Then came the Omicron restrictions. And the Samajwadi Party did not have those big rallies to build on that perception and create a sense of of an equal match even. I think what also happened was that a lot of people, including myself, saw Samajwadi Party look much stronger than earlier. But that was because of the collapse of the BSP and the Congress. Samajwadi Party vote share, as I'm sure the SP spokesperson will tell us soon, is the highest ever.
Yeah,
they've got the highest ever vote share and still lost because the distance with the BJP was much greater. This election became a binary election for the first time since 1991. I mean, Congress has more seats than the BSP as of now. That's how funny this election result is, right?
Absolutely. Abhishek Sudhir, let me bring you in as a supporter of Akhilesh Yadav's. You know, how do you see this? It's, you know, it was an election that was being touted as Akhilesh Yadav's big opportunity. The SP, as Shivam rightly pointed out, getting its biggest vote share, but then the gap with the BJP was just too much, wasn't it?
Well, Nidhi, you said the brave Samajwadi Party supporter. Why shouldn't I be brave? Why shouldn't I be brave? Let me tell you, I'm a liberal from Bangalore. I live in Lucknow now, but DK Shivkumar, Mallikarjun Kharge, the Karnataka Congress honchos are my neighbors. I have observed the decline of the Congress from close quarters. That is why I decided to support Akhilesh Yadav and move to Lucknow, because if you have to defeat the BJP, there's only one man who can do it. And these results prove it, Nidhi. Look at Behenji's vote share, right? It's almost double digits, or it is double digits, and she's got one seat. Behenji has played spoiler. Behenji's career is over. The epitaph can be written about Mayawati. She might be protected from the CBI, but she will never become the chief minister or a player in UP politics. The Congress, Ajay Kumar Lallu, whom Priyanka Gandhi has placed so much faith and trust in, is currently trailing. The Congress unit has been riddled by infighting. The only hope to defeat the BJP in Uttar Pradesh is the Samajwadi Party. That means the only hope to defeat the BJP nationally is the Samajwadi Party. Arvind Kejriwal, congratulations to him, but I'm sorry, sir, you need Akhilesh Yadav, you need Mamata Banerjee, you need KCR, you need Stalin, you need Jagan, you need Naveen Babu, you need Pinarayi Vijayan. Right? You can't do this on your own. You want to be the face of that coalition? By all means try. But you have to be part of the coalition, sir. You cannot become the Prime Minister having no MPs from Delhi. Right? You lost every seat over there. So congratulations to Aam Aadmi Party.
I don't see the Congress in your list though.
God, I don't want to go there.
No, to go there. I mean,
well, honestly,
is it now clear that the Congress would have to actually, in a way, behave like a regional party when it comes to a national coalition?
Nidhi, I come from Karnataka. Right, Karnataka, the blood of Karnataka runs through my veins. Trust me, if they do not sort out the DK Siddaramaiah infighting, what happened in Punjab is going to happen next year in Karnataka. They have a genuine shot of beating the BJP. Unfortunately, there's a straight fight between the BJP and the Congress, but you can't say we have a straight fight with them in Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, etc. And as Prashant Kishore said, their strike rate is abysmal against the BJP. So become one of the many. Rahul Gandhi cannot be the general. Rahul Gandhi cannot be the general. He can never be the general.
Every state other than UP, you know, we want to know why the SP lost an election. It could have won. There's high unemployment, high inflation. There was COVID wave after wave.
Let me tell you.
Economic recession. I mean, there were so many things going for SP, the BSP and Congress have declined. There's an open sort of field for you to defeat BJP.
Can I tell you?
Vote share has actually gone up.
First of all, it wasn't. Listen, I am not an official spokesperson of the party, but 36% vote share. Would you have thought, like 1 year ago, that the SP would get 36% and not form the government? Why is SP not forming the government? Because Mayawati has played spoil sport. We need to have the detailed results to come out. We need to do a seat-by-seat analysis. But Behenji has played spoil sport. But tomorrow is the first day of the campaign for 2024, Nidhi. Do you know where Prime Minister Modi is tomorrow, Nidhi? Prime Minister Modi is on a two-day visit to the state of Gujarat. Prime Minister Modi is a 24/7 politician. You have to beat Prime Minister Modi. You have to be a 24/7 politician. Akhilesh Yadav has been a 24/7 politician in this campaign season. I believe he will be a 24/7 politician.
I mean,
Shivam can disagree.
Did he start the campaign a bit late?
But the crowds were there. The crowds were there.
All right. I mean, there is a lot of commentary that, you know, he was away for much of the COVID lockdown. He wasn't around. He was abroad. And that, you know, maybe the SP started the campaign a little late. He wasn't exactly a 24/7 politician until a few months ago.
We can't fight the BJP's media machine, Nidhi. We can't fight it. I've been on every goddamn channel today from 8 o'clock, right? We can't. Nobody wants to talk about the Samajwadi Party today. Everyone wants to talk about Kejriwal. Because if you talk about the Samajwadi Party, What you actually see, I don't believe in moral victories. I believe in victory and defeat. But I believe you can learn a lot more from a defeat than you can from a victory. We will learn from this defeat. Akhilesh Yadav will learn from this defeat. He is here to stay. He's 48 years old. Yogi is 49 years old. These two gentlemen are the future of UP politics.
All right. Ranveer Singh Patania, the BJP obviously very, very pleased today. The fact that you might have another face in the opposition's ring in the form of Arvind Kejriwal now, does that actually strengthen your position going into 2024? Because you clearly have Mr. Modi as the face of the BJP campaign, whereas the opposition has this sort of wide array of leaders who may or may not agree and most probably will not agree to who the leadership should be on their side. I think your mic is on mute, Mr. Patania.
Yes, sorry. Now I'm on it. First of all, let me respond to the all-popular, we could say, a sort of a gospel which was being floated across all the media that this is the semi-final to 2024. So at least everybody should at least acquiesce and acknowledge that we have at least won the semi-final. Once we have smartly won the semi-final, we will have a smooth sail in the final also. Now, with regard to you are saying national alternative, also, and with due respect to my other friend, but he has spoken just before me, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has come to power in Punjab with due respect to the all people's mandate in Punjab. We respect and we bow down before the people's mandate in Punjab. But Arvind Kejriwal has sailed in Punjab on the basis of I won't hesitate to call it a utopian manifesto. Free power to all, rupees 1,000 to every woman, then houses for some. Let him fulfill his election commitments. You see, winning a UP like Delhi and winning a Punjab on an anti-incumbency where Congress was itself on a self-destructive mode. Congress was itself firing itself quickly in defeat. So that doesn't put anybody in national alternative. Anyhow, this is democracy. Let anybody say whatever say. As we won this semi-final, we will again go to the people with the work which we have done, with the centrally sponsored schemes. We have, for the first time since 70 years, we are the only government which has professed and which has virtually actualized on ground.
There's no doubt about
which
that.
Has virtually started with Har Khet Ko Pani.
Absolutely, you're right. I mean, women voters, central schemes, all of that has strongly worked for the BJP. But Mr. Patania, if you look at Punjab, you can't just be dismissive of the AAP victory as being something because the Congress was imploding. They've defeated every big face across party lines in Punjab, from the Badals to Sidhu to Amrinder Singh to the Chief Minister.
Yes.
I'm just saying that if you look at the list of people, personality-wise, who've been defeated in Punjab, for the first time, I think, and I don't know how long, no Badal is going to be represented in the Punjab Assembly. Sidhu has lost, Amrinder Singh has lost, Mr. Chani has lost both his seats. So, and the fact is that today the Aam Aadmi Party, which contested for the first time in Goa, has got 2 seats in Goa. So they're clearly expanding. I mean, I'm sure you would concede that it opens up an interesting new challenge. Gujarat is the next big state where they have had some success in local elections, only some. But that's another state where the Congress is weak. So maybe the AAP will try to occupy that space. Would you agree?
Madam, this is what I was trying to illustrate. That coming to power on the basis of, I'll reiterate, a utopian manifesto. And then on the basis of a virtual, we could say, a peculiar atmosphere in Delhi and peculiar election atmosphere in Punjab. This is one part. Then repeating, reinventing, then again coming to power. And at least we could cite the example of Uttar Pradesh, where we have written the history. So that is something else. These two things are, we could say, poles apart. Now, forming a national alternative, which means winning the heartthrobs of the people. Across the national spectrum, people should come to actualize you that this is the Sarkar, this is the people's Sarkar. We are a 24/7 party, and we have leaders who are 24/7. We have workers who are 24/7. We believe in nation first. We believe in Antodaya, the last man in the last row.
No, you're right. You are a 24/7 party, and that actually is the biggest weakness of the what used to be the principal opposition party, which is the Congress. Can one say that anymore, Aishwarya Mahadev? The most difficult, I've been saying this afternoon, the most difficult job is of you all from the Congress today. Aishwarya Mahadev, is it going to be enough for Rahul Gandhi and the Congress to say, we will introspect and look at the reasons for this defeat? I believe Sonia Gandhi has called a meeting of the CWC to look at what went wrong in these elections. Do you think a time has come for a major earthquake to take place in the Congress where, you know, horror of horrors, you may actually have to look beyond the Gandhi family now?
Good evening, Nidhi. Before I get to that, I think from Sadashiv Nagar to Samajwadi Party in Lucknow, I think from a Samajwadi Party supporter, there was a lot of psephology that came out. But let me just clarify, I am from Karnataka, I am a Kannadiga, my leader DK Shivkumar knows how to take our party to victory, and come Karnataka elections, I am very certain that under the leadership of DK Shivkumar and everybody else, we know exactly how to form a government, and we will show you how to defeat the BJP. Now coming down to what you're talking about, Nidhi, I think it is at the point everybody here has been talking about an earthquake. Everybody is talking about this conversation of massive overhaul where the fault lies and whatnot. Let us admit a few things. Yes, we basically went to the ground. We've contested in more seats than we have in these states than ever before. We went to the people seeking their mandate. We were not able to get it. It did help re-energize our cadre on the ground. This is not one person's responsibility. This is not the responsibility singularly of the Gandhis. It is of every single state unit and every single person that has worked as the Congress cadre. If the party decides to recalibrate and take decisions for the betterment of the party, it's 150% for the better, and every leader will stand by it. And I think at this point, the important learning is whether it's hard being on air or not, I'm at heart a congresswoman and none of that will change. And I can say this with conviction that this is a cycle. I have started at a time when we went losing election after election. We've seen a few upswings. And yes, there's a lot that the party has to change. It's about resonating with the ground. They may not have, even though I will say the manner in which Priyanka Gandhi ji worked in Uttar Pradesh was truly iconic, and to push a 40% agenda for women, whether you win or get electoral dividends or not, was extremely bold. And I think all of it is in good stead for the years to come. And right now we will wait on our leadership. We have full faith in our leadership, whether it's an earthquake, whether it's an avalanche, whether it is just...
No, but why are you waiting for them? Sorry to just interrupt there, because firstly, yes, maybe the campaign was commendably fought, but you have to also win elections. Look at the Congress's performance in UP. What is the vote share? Some 2%, right? So that's some... isn't it time for others, for people like you in the party to question who is your leadership? What is it doing exactly? I mean, Rahul Gandhi doesn't even technically even have a position that he holds in the Congress party, and yet he's calling the shots on who the Chief Minister of Punjab should be. Would you concede that Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi made vital mistakes in the way that they carried out this campaign? And Punjab in particular, you should have won Uttarakhand. Why didn't you?
You know, Nidhi, Rahul ji and Priyanka ji may not hold posts at all within the party, but for the cadre on the ground and everybody in the Congress, they are still our leaders. And I do believe we do have elections. But besides that, Uttarakhand, we did push for a fight. From the numbers we had previously to what we bought it there, even with the internal turmoil that we did have. Punjab, I think for us, it was to recover from the damage that had been created. And it was decisive leadership of the centre to step in and take those decisions that it did not pay off. But to obviously apportion every single mistake that has occurred in the Congress party to my leadership and to the leaders and the Gandhis is absolutely unfair. In states like Goa, where you saw only 2 MLAs left right before elections to what we had later, and to the fact that the workers on the ground also worked their hardest. In other states, even in Manipur, the sort of effort on the ground, you know, you can write us off, you can write off the leadership, Nidhi, but as long as there is still a performance from us, as long as we're still on the ground trying our best, give us the benefit that there will be a tide that will turn and change. Leadership discussions, you know, whatever that has to be done will be done internally within the party. And at the end of it, if the larger is there is no effective opposition,
because you all have been having a lot of discussions since 2014. But anyway, that's a separate story. Shivam, just to get back to this point about UP, I thought one of the most interesting things was Lakhimpur Kheri. All those seats have been won by the BJP. That is where those farmers were literally run over by a car that was allegedly being driven by their Minister of State for Home's son, who went to jail for it and got bail for it also. It's interesting that the farmers' agitation doesn't seem to have had the impact, that kind of anger against the BJP. I mean, Lakhimpur Kheri hasn't made them angry.
No, I think this is not surprising at all. Lakhimpur Kheri, the farmers who were sort of in a conflict with the BJP MP there were Sikh. But Lakhimpur Kheri itself is a stronghold of Brahmins, and that's why the Brahmin minister could not have been sacrificed. So whether we like it or not, demography matters in politics. However, it's not as if the farm agitation has not made a difference. It has. The RLD has done well for the first time since 2014 in West UP. The RLD SP alliance has kind of worked in a sense, and that is the region where Jat farmers who were participating very actively and enthusiastically in the farm agitation, have ditched the BJP and supported the RLD alliance. So it has worked. It's not as if nothing has worked or nothing has changed in UP. Things have changed, even if they change a little here and there and incrementally. Lakhimpur Kheri did not have that kind of impact, partly because the BJP did put away the son in jail. So they did act a bit to reduce the kind of resentment that people would have about it.
Okay, lots of more interesting things to discuss with you about UP in just a moment. I'd like to thank Aishwarya, Abhishek and Mr. Patania for joining us. We're going to take a break. We'll bring you much more from our reporters on the ground. In the next few hours, we are expecting to hear firstly from the Chief Minister of UP, who might be addressing his party workers at around 5. Also, the Prime Minister possibly expected to go to the BJP headquarters as he traditionally does when the party wins big in state elections. That will be a little later this evening. Much more coming up after the break.